Oh, it's late. It's an evening edition, a late night edition of the Pinstripe Chronicles, and not a good one. Good evening, everybody in the chat. A somber night as Juan Soto has officially signed with the New York Mets, a record breaking 15-year, $765 million deal to go to Queens and play for the Orange and Blue. Something us Yankee fans were dreading. We knew, despite the fact that we kind of didn't want to believe it, or at least I'll speak for myself, I always knew they were a major threat. Steve Cohen's got unlimited funds, basically playing MLB The Show with the budgets turned off, and he flexed his financial muscle a little bit more than our guy did tonight. And yeah, Juan Soto is officially a New York Met, so I want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. We've got a few people trickling in here. Jonathan was here well before we went live. Alex, Big Blue in the Bronx, and Brad. And Brad, I appreciate the conversations we've been having on Twitter. So yeah, a rough night. Donald, you're visibly shaken, and Nikki in the chat. Hey, congratulations, Nikki. Enjoy Soto. That's all I can say. I'm not gonna try to trash the Mets. I still don't want to believe it's real, but it's real. So enjoy the guy. He's a great player. Hell of a player. Donald, floor is yours.
I'm crushed. I'm absolutely crushed. He's by far my favorite player. Absolutely loved him. He absolutely captured my heart the whole season. I thought he was incredible to watch, and he got us to a World Series basically himself, apart from Stanton. The first World Series since 2009, and we lost him. And it's absolutely crushing. There's no other way to put it. It's absolutely crushing, and I have no idea where we pivot to because there's no one in free agency in terms of offense that I want. We don't want Bregman. I mean, yeah, Teoscar Hernandez would be good, but he's ancient. But he's probably the best option for the outfield. There's no one that I want. A couple of pitchers, great, but I think this team's cooked. To be honest, I have no idea where we're going to pivot to. I don't trust Brian Cashman, and it's heartbreaking. And I've got my little Soto jersey here. Good old Juan Soto. So this is the last of it, huh? Well, that's it. That's it. Since it's done, tore it up. Prick. That's it. That's my Soto jersey. And that was $50 well spent.
Well, Donald goes full meltdown mode. We got some more people here in the chat. Let's see. We got Brad saying, if anyone says Hal's cheap, should get their head read. Absolutely. Nikki says, go get Santander. I don't like the idea of Santander. We'll talk about pivoting in a little bit as we just kind of see what the chat's saying here. We got 36 people, so hit that like button for you boys and feel sorry with us. Lucas, he's been broken since the World Series. I'm not at all surprised the Soto went to Queens. Sorry, the way the Yankees management and front office doesn't inspire hope for me, with or without Soto. Broken. And yeah, I agree with that. I don't trust Cashman. That's why we needed Hal to run this operation, because Cashman would have stopped probably would have stopped at the Randy Miller number of 5-something. So let's see what Loco D is saying. Mets will always be the little brother. Well, not tonight. And I hate the worst feeling that Juan Soto just left to. Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, he wanted to be a Met.
I can't believe it.
He wanted to be a Met. I can't really be mad at our guys for this, right? I can't sit here and be like, fuck Hal, fuck Cashman, fuck Levine. Well, I hate Randy Levine, but I can't be like mad at the Yankees front office for the fact that the Yankees were willing to pay this man the richest contract in baseball, in sports history as well. The Mets just went a little bit higher for one less year. He gets what, $4 million more per year, something like that, 3.5. So yeah, but at the same time, if it was a difference of $5 million, do you think he only wanted the money? No, he wanted to be a Met. And the thing is, remember the conversations he was having in the meetings. He was asking about teams' futures and their farm systems and what they're going to invest. Because if he's going to be signing for Well, he could be for 5 years. He's got that opt out. But if he's going to be there for the long haul, he kind of wants to know what's going to be surrounding him for at least the next decade or so, or the next 5 years. So all that stuff matters. I think the Yankees have a good farm system, but the Mets do too. But here's that word again, fundamentals. The Mets don't have the issues the Yankees did last year. Despite the fact that we were in the World Series, what did we keep talking about that cost us more than anything to win that championship? Was the F word. So, again, he wanted to be a Met, and I didn't want to believe that, but hey, here it is. Here we are, December 8th, 2024, 10:49 p.m. Eastern, wherever you may be. Brad's way ahead of us. Donald's, it's like 3 in the morning over there, but Juan Soto's a Met. And there's nothing we can do to change that. We just got to hope the Yankees move on. And I'm hoping the Yankees work quickly. And in my mind, I'm not going to speak for anybody because I'm upset too. But I got to move on too. And I got to start thinking about what's next. And hopefully the Yankees use this as an eye-opener to say, he didn't want to be here for specific reasons. Let's fix those reasons so we don't have this happen again. Because next year that we're hopefully are going to be in the running for 2 major players like Murakami or Guerrero or Vladimir Jr. So let's just hope the Yankees have a good idea in mind of what they want to do, and I don't think that includes Santander. I just hope it doesn't.
My immediate thinking is that the Yankees shouldn't take on any long-term contracts, so I don't want us to panic and go into free agency and sign Bregman. I hear Bregman's the next pivot. Fuck that. Not for that money. It's a terrible waste of money, in my opinion. The Yankees should... the Yankees are in real trouble. I mean, they are. Where are they going to pivot to? My best thinking is that next year's a wash, and then you focus on the year after. But you can't do that when you got Aaron Judge and go Garrett Cole. That's why the Yankees are in terrible trouble. They are. Are you going to get Vladdy Jr. in a trade? Because Vladdy Jr. might be available in year after next if you sign him in free agency, but he's the only one that could give you representative value to replace Juan Soto. So yeah, they are really deep trouble. We've already seen that Aaron Judge can't do it on his own, and it was a 2-man lineup for much of last year anyway. So now you take away a big part of it. Now what? So there's nothing positive out of this if you're a Yankee fan. This is a terrible, terrible day. Guy that's in his prime, is a Hall of Famer, gone. And now what? They've got nothing. I'm looking at that roster, and I just don't see anything.
Uncle Tats has joined us. I'll answer before we get to Tats' thoughts. I want to answer what Donald was just saying. It's a very valid point because right now the Yankees roster without Juan Soto is just Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. A little bit of Jazz Chisholm. A hopeful improvement in year 2 from Austin Wells, and a major improvement in year 3 of Anthony Volpe. And then you need Dominguez to be good. You need Durbin to be good. You need whoever is at first base to be good. And now you have to try and somehow replace something or somewhat of what Juan Soto brings to the table. I don't know if those guys are in free agency. The closest thing to me is Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah, he's the best bet.
He's the best fit. That's why I had it in my without Soto plans. He was the guy I went and got. And I think that's what the Yankees have to do. They have to try to make sure he doesn't go back to L.A. The Dodgers just gave Conforto $17 million. They're still in on Teoscar Hernandez, which is insane how much money they're going to spend this offseason on top of what they've already spent last year.
Dude, they were willing to offer $600 to Juan Soto. Apparently, they were in the 600s for Juan Soto.
Apparently, they were willing to go if they might have even went up to 700, according to Heyman. If they hit the 700 mark, it would have been a real possibility he went there. Like, that's nuts to think about. The Dodgers just have all the money they want to spend. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting in the coming days what the Yankees do. But, Tats, how you feeling? What are your thoughts right now?
No, it's disappointing. But you get a few minutes to kind of digest everything, and you let the anger subside. And it's like, you know what? I mean, Hal gave it a good run. You know, I think that's a big sentiment amongst everybody. was Hal was in this for the long run. It was a very respectable contract. So it's not like he was so far behind Cohen. It just Cohen kept going above the Yankees number. And I think that was just the inevitable, outcome. I said yesterday I was on with Mazza and Jason. And I'm like, I thought it was 55-45 for the Yankees, being that we already had him for the year. But I did think it was going to be that close. It was going to come down to the bidding war and whoever he chose. Unfortunately, in my opinion, I think he chose wrong. I think the Yankees do have the stronger roster. But now with this outcome, the first thing you think of is this is a major setback to the success going into next season. Because this is a big hole in the lineup now. He was such a juggernaut. It's like, all right, now what do you do? Where's Judge's protection now? We've seen Judge do it, in years before Soto, but not like last year. Last year, they were that Maris Mantle kind of pair where it was just set to be historic. And he chose money over history.
He did.
And not a lot of it, right?
Unforgivable.
It wasn't like I was expecting like if the Mets were at 765, I was like, oh, the Yankees are probably at like 730. But we had $5 million less for the extra years. So like I don't want to see anybody talking about how Steinbrenner is cheap. If I see that, I'm going to scream, because how the hell can you call a guy cheap for offering $700 million plus for a baseball player?
Crazy.
That's nuts. And look, I'm going to give credit to where it's due to Steve Cohen, that everyone kept saying he was going to do whatever it took to get the guy. He wasn't going to get beat. And that's exactly what happened. He put his money where his mouth is. So good for him. Good for Juan. I'm happy for Juan Soto, I guess. I'm not happy for the Yankees, but we'll just have to wait. It's a wait and see game. It really is. Just wait and see what the Yankees do.
I mean, if I'm being, let's be logical about this. The only reason he's a Met is because the Mets can offer unlimited amount of money because they have nothing else to offer. Let's be honest, and it's not because I'm an angry Yankee fan, but the Mets have nothing else to offer. They're a second-rate organization. They don't have much, but they've got good management, and they've got a billionaire owner that's willing to spend unlimited amounts of money. But he has to offer 10 times more than other teams in order to secure players, because no one really dreams of going to be a Met. Let's be honest. So, I know it sounds like I'm being sour grapes, but I think I'm just being honest and being realistic. It's not like they have cachet or history to help secure it. But unfortunately, the Yankees tried their other tact that history would secure Juan Soto, and Soto passed up on it.
Yeah, but I don't think that's all that he relied on.
The Yankees have the same cachet anymore. They can't use the 90s anymore. They can't use the 27 championships anymore because the modern baseball player doesn't seem to give a fuck.
No, I don't think that's in the memory banks of the younger fans. Like, that's what I said. I'm like, until they win again, the rings argument is buried. That's got to be locked in a vault and not talked about. I really believe that. I got a lot of family that are other fans of other teams. I never use that argument. I never use the championships. I'll bring up the history of the accomplishments of players, but I don't wave the championship banner. Not anymore. But no, it's just really it's such a hard pill to swallow, because during the Bosses era with George, we were the dog. We were the big dog in the yard. And the Yankees, with these new ownership groups and with Cohen, and they're not the only dog in the yard anymore. They have competition, and we're seeing that competition full force. And it's just unfortunate. The Yankees are going to have to seriously think about what they want to do to be able to bring guys over to the Bronx. I don't want it to sound like I'm saying that the Yankees have lost their appeal or they lost their aura, because I don't think that's the case. I just think players are looking at things differently than they used to.
Well, yeah, Sierra brought up a good point in our podcast earlier, where she said, the Yankees are a little bit outdated. They're a little bit too buttoned up, and the modern player might be more interested in a team that's a little bit looser and has a little bit more fun. Like for instance, I think that the Yankees beard rule is stupid. Like the idea that Rob's beard and my beard would be too much for the Yankees. Like a trimmed freaking beard is like, oh, you can't have that. I mean, that's stupid. Like, I think these kind of things are outdated, and I think it does affect them. And also I think that the Yankee management has been incredibly arrogant, and I think they've been arrogant for a very long, long time. They are stuck in the past. Let's be honest, they are stuck in the past, and this is not me just saying it because I'm angry right now. It's because I've been seeing it for years now. The Yankees have been incredibly arrogant, where they don't want to look at how they can improve. They've still got the same analytics staff. They've still got Mike Fishman, who's been a problem for a while. They give more and more excuses to Aaron Boone, and they haven't updated their philosophy. And yeah, I mean, if you look at the way the reaction was to their their poor analytics and their poor fundamentals, like they laughed it off like it didn't exist. And then a couple of years ago, remember when Boone and Cashman said that teams are catching up to us, even though we hadn't won since 2009. I mean, there is an element of arrogance there, and I do think it plays a part in the way that the Yankees have fallen behind. They were incredibly fortunate to make the World Series this year. They were, and it was all in the back of Juan Soto and Big G, and that was it. With the help of Garrett Cole and some Luke Weaver, but really it was just on the backs of those two. So, because the rest of it, there was a lot of problems in those games, and we were very lucky that Soto got them through. And I'm just not sure how they're going to recover. Not this offseason.
Well, they kind of have to. I'm not saying they got to go throw all that money out to 4 different players. Let's be honest; it's not going to be a 6-player thing that they do. They just have to make. They can't do the same thing they did when Cano left. When Cano left, they ended up going after Ellsbury and Beltran, and those were 2 moves that ended up being disastrous. They can't go in that same route. They have to try and add players that are going to help the team stay at the top of the American League. They still, in my mind, they still have one of the better rosters in the AL because the AL is just not that good. But they have to improve on it. Bellinger would make you better. Hernandez would make you better. And one of those pitchers, Fried or Burns, would make you better. And then, of course, you got to go help that bullpen out. And they can make those moves happen. We talked about it a lot with what they can free up in terms of trading Stroman and Nestor. They can free up money. And that's still a good team. Is it Juan Soto? No. We know how good Juan Soto is. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Hernandez and Bellinger and a year of Dominguez, that's gonna bring you what Juan Soto brings you. It's not. You can't replicate what Juan Soto brings you. But that's still a good team. And it's better than the alternative, which is rolling out the roster that we have right now, which would feature some idiot in left field and some random at first. DJ LeMahieu is our first baseman. No, we cannot let this be. I'm seeing a lot of people saying, "Oh, just go rebuild." And no. You have Aaron Judge, you have Cole, you have Rodon, you still have Stroman for now. You have Stanton. You have too many players that are coming or ending their primes, or Stanton's on the tail end of it. Cole and Judge are still there, but for not much longer. I don't know how much longer Cole has of his prime. And the same with Judge. You might have a good 4 years of Aaron Judge playing at this level before you start to see the numbers drop. The window is still open, but it's closing. And with Juan Soto gone,
problem, bro. What you just mentioned there, it's also you might say it might be the solution, but it's also the problem because a lot of those guys are at the tail end of their careers. Big G, he's my favorite player now, but he's got at best you've got 2 years of quality ball in him. I would say the same with Aaron Judge, and then what? The rest there isn't star quality. The rest of this lineup, Jazz Chisholm is not a star. I think he's just good. And we don't have anything at first. We don't have anything at third. Don't have a left fielder. And we don't have a number 2 starter. Rodon isn't that good. And we don't have a bullpen. And so I can understand why fans would say blow it up. But we can't because we've got a lot of great contracts that, and we have to try and get something for Aaron Judge. I'm just not sure how we do it. I'm just really not sure. I think we're now going to have to start looking at trading Spencer Jones and try and hope to acquire a star. But there's none available. I don't understand. I don't know how we're going to do this. I think this year we're cooked. We have a better chance the year after, 2026.
And the rebuild won't work because there's contracts that either have no trade attached to them. I'm looking at Nick's comment dealing with Stanton. All right, we'll trade him to your team for Soto. How about that? It's like, come on. Stanton's got a full no trade, and the only other team that he would go to is the Dodgers, and they're not going to take it. Well, actually, with
Dodgers love Stanton. Are you kidding?
But Stanton's not going anywhere. And Stanton's one of the main reasons why we've had postseason success.
Yeah, he is.
It's like if you take him out of the equation, then what do you got?
Well, that's what we've seen prior to Soto. That's why I'm so upset.
Yeah,
we've seen the previous playoffs from 2020 to when we missed the playoffs last year, and it was all Soto every single playoffs. Judge didn't show up. It was all Soto. Not Soto. All Stanton. All Stanton every playoffs. Judge didn't even show up, so he can't carry it on his own. I just don't know what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I want to bring up this question, this comment here from Wampag. I haven't seen Wampag in a long while. What's going on, man? He's like, let's take our Yankee bias out of this for a second, but doesn't it just feel right to see this front office fail? No, I actually think this is bad for baseball. Because when they put when they put the odds out for the World Series every year, it's always Yankees Dodgers because that is the money draw. That is the Yankees in the postseason bring in numbers. It brings in an audience. They have not lost. Because either they want, the fans want to see them succeed, and then you have 29 other teams waiting to see them fail. So all eyes are on the Yankees when it comes to the postseason. So no, this is not a good thing for the sport at all.
Yeah, it sucks, man. You're right. That's a great point. It is not good. I mean, baseball. Ideally, you want the Dodgers to be the best in the National League. You want the Yankees the best in the American League. You want that, and you want the Yankees to be a superpower. And I mean, you just saw the draw that Soto coming in the first place brought. I mean. Dude, I spent the summer going to Yankee games just because Juan Soto, baby. It was an absolute joy. And now what were they going to do? The Yankees want to sell tickets. They want to sell season tickets. What are they going to sell it now? You lose your star player. How are you going to sell it to the fans? And their star player didn't even win the World Series. So now you take away that star player. How are you gonna sell it to the fans? Oh, we're getting better. We're gonna try and win a World Series. Minus our best player.
Yeah, Rob. I don't know if you were able to listen in, but I brought up Wampag's comment about, he said take the Yankee bias away. Was this a good thing for the Yankees that they failed?
No. Because you lost the 26-year-old generational player. I mean, you can't understate what he brought to the lineup.
Yeah.
Just his presence alone made everything else easier, because if you had Soto, you could have went with a 1-year stopgap at first, like a Lamont Wade, and just gotten good production, and you wouldn't have really worried about it. And you could have Caleb Durbin and Dominguez go through their ups and downs of a rookie season, because you had Soto and Judge, you had Stanton, you have Wells, you have Jazz, you have a good lineup. But now without Soto, you have to hope that those guys don't go through too many lows of a rookie season. You have to hope that Volpe is better. He has to be better now. Austin Wells cannot have that sophomore slump. He has to be the guy we saw for a large portion of last year and during the spring. He has to be a big hitter. Whoever we add to the outfield has to be something close, at least power-wise, to what Soto was, because no one's going to replicate his on-base ability. No one's going to replicate Soto's plate discipline and his at-bat quality. But you have to try to get someone that's going to be able to hit you 30 homers, at least. It's slim pickings. It's Bellinger, maybe, and Santander would be that guy. I just don't know what he's going to be in the next couple of years. So it'd be Bellinger and Hernandez, and we can't. I like Teoscar; he'd be my top choice, but he's also 32 years old, so you got to be very aware of that as well. And I do agree. I think he's going back to the Dodgers at the end of the day, but he's still to me he's the best bat, especially if you go get Bellinger. I think he has to be your choice now. You have to get Bellinger, and you have to go get an outfielder as well, unless you want Bellinger to play center and Dominguez in left, but then you got to get a first baseman. And I don't want them to overpay for Alonso. I don't want them to overpay for Walker.
No.
I don't want them to do that stuff because I don't want them to go crazy.
You want Bregman?
No, I don't want them because Bregman's going to want big money. And I like Profar, Ken. I'm not sure.
That's more defense. That's not going to help you on offense.
No, Profar had a really good year offensively.
24 home runs last year.
Yeah, Profar's 24.
He had that many? Okay. I thought he was in the teens on home runs. All right.
No, he was a good player. And look, again, I agree about Santander. He's a great hitter, but at the same time, you have to look at everything else. He's a far worse defender than Soto, and everyone was complaining that Soto is a terrible defender. You can't pay this guy. Now you want to pay Santander. I'm not saying I don't like him, Nikki. I just don't know if I want to give that guy 5 or 6 years at it's going to be $26 million if you look at what Adames got. So
I don't think Santander answers our needs. Here's the thing:
No.
his OBP is like 300.
Terrible on base.
Yeah, so he doesn't get on base. So he gets on base 30% of the time. So he's just going to be an all or nothing player. He's about 220, 230 hitter. We don't need that. That's Juan Soto gave you an on base percentage of almost 500, and he was perfect to set up Aaron Judge because he was always on base. I mean, that's why Aaron Judge had those stupendous RBI numbers because Soto was always on base. Santander, I mean, he's not going to be on base that much. He might run into some home runs, but also that 44 home run year was an outlier because if you look at previous years, he wasn't that kind of power. It's not like he's been hitting 35 to 40 home runs every single year of his career. I think he's 30, and he plays terrible defense, and I'm worried if you give him overpay and you give him big years, then the Yankees are tied to the same kind of middling all or nothing bat that we kind of need to move off of only because we're panicking. I think that the best thing we could possibly do is give Teoscar Hernandez more than he really should because I think he's the best bet. If you can get Teoscar Hernandez for a 2-year deal, something like that, pay him a crazy amount of money, right, that even the Dodgers want to touch and get him in because I think he's the best option of a very, very poor group. The best thing we can do is move Aaron Judge to right field because he's a dreadful center fielder. Move him to right field, then you'll probably get quality right field again. That's a plus. And then you get a proper left fielder. It won't be as ugly a situation in the outfield. That's the best thing we can do.
We have some updates here about the contract that may put a little bit more stuff into perspective from Jorge Castillo of ESPN. He says Soto can either opt out after the 5th year or receive a $4 million raise per season for the remainder of the contract, so it can go up to $55 million. And then Martino put out a tweet not that long ago. Let me find it again. The Yankees were in the lead for Soto all throughout the process, through the weekend and late afternoon today. Steve Cohen came from the top rope very late and got it done. They're willing to pay him $55 million a year, guys. What can we do? You know,
That's a hard contract to match.
yeah. I can't really sit there and blame Hal for being like, we're gonna match that. Like, their offer was 16 for 760. That's nuts. You know, I can't blame
But it
I
also
can't
showed
blame the
that he
owner.
didn't want to be a Yankee. If he chased the
Mm-hmm.
dollar, that's a crazy amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually disgusting from Juan Soto. It's actually disgusting.
I kind of feel like he used us last year just
Yeah,
to
it's
value. I
disgusting.
feel dirty.
It's just like, what does he want? Real talk. What does he want? The New York Yankees offered him a record amount of money, more than Otani. Remember when we were like we couldn't even believe Otani's contract last year. Juan Soto's contract obliterates that. The Yankees went that far, obliterated it. 750? Are you mad? They did that. It's almost double what Aaron Judge they're going to pay Aaron Judge. And he balked at that and went and chased the almighty dollar from the Mets for a couple million more for a $4 million opt out. Give me a fucking break, you scumbag. Sorry, that's a scumbag move. It really is. It's a scumbag move.
There's so many. First of all, we got over 100 people in here from both X and YouTube. So if you want to join over to the YouTube and join the chat, because you can join people like D-Rod saying that he's used in most ways. I like it, but not this way. Yeah, we're trying to just make light of it. No, look, he wanted to be a Met, and anyone who says otherwise, it's clear as day. This is not like the Yamamoto situation where well, obviously he wanted to be a Dodger, and he took the biggest contract. The Mets and Dodgers had the same offer, and he took the Dodger. He wanted to be a Dodger over the Yankees and the Mets. Clearly, he wanted to be a Met. I mean, they didn't trade for him. He got to experience New York for a year. He got to experience the New York fan base. I know it's two different teams, but New Yorkers, it's not like Mets fans don't react. So he wanted to be a Met, and we can't change that. It sucks. It really does suck. But hey, we got to move on. That's all I know. I'm gonna speak for myself.
How are we gonna move on, Rob? What do we do? How's the best way to do it?
I need them to get an outfielder, and I need them to get Bellinger now. And I think if the Cubs are that desperate to move him, you can make a move. You need to get bats. Hey, David Cohen, $2 super chat. Thank you. Why do you think they didn't just match the $5 million? I think it was that added incentive, because if Soto said, "Hey, the Mets are going to give me 15 for 765, can you match that and take a year off and pay me 55 or whatever the number is per year, 50, 51?" I think Hal would have done that, but it's that added incentive. Like after the opt out, it can go up to 55. I don't know if the Yankees were willing to match that. Well, we gave him, they gave him an extra year. The Yankees gave him the 16 years. They tried to get the AAV down a little bit. I actually had the same AAV in my prediction. I just had the years and number way off. I had 47.6 to the dot. That was my prediction. But the Yankees I don't think they wanted to give him 50 a year because they have to attack other needs. That's what I was saying at the start of this. The Mets can give him that and still have plenty left over to go attack what else they need, because they've already got a starting pitcher, not a good one, in Montas, and they're using Clay Holmes as a starter for some reason. But if it doesn't work out, they can put him in the bullpen. Now they got to get a first baseman and another starter, and they're probably set. So they'll probably get Alonso back because they can afford it, and they'll probably get another starter. They could be in the running for a Jack Flaherty type or something like that, and they'd still have money to spend because the Mets were always able to do this. That's why, from the Yankees standpoint, going 47.6, it still left you a little bit of extra cash to go get a first baseman and add to the bullpen. And if you made a trade, add more pieces. The Yankees were working with a tighter budget than the Mets. That's why the Mets can give him 50 and push that up to 55. The Yankees were like, probably didn't want to do that because they have to attack other needs. He took the money. He wanted to be a Met. It is what it is. And as for what do we do next? Get an outfielder. I thought first base was going to be the biggest area you need, but now you got to get Hernandez. I could talk myself, I guess, to trying for a lower years for Santander, but that's really it. Because, again, who else is out there? Do you go get a first baseman for a 3-year deal like Walker, or do you trade for 2 years of Nathaniel Lowe and still get Bellinger and put him in center? That's an option, but I don't know. It's slim pickings, Raziel. That's what I'm saying, because it's very slim pickings. That's why Soto was a necessity.
That's why the Yankees offered 760. If they really had a real plan B, they probably would have cut it off a lot earlier. They know that he's everything. They know that he was the draw. I don't know what the Yankees' draw is for next year. It sure as hell isn't going to be Santander. Santander isn't going to sell seats. So,
look, as frustrating as it is, and David, appreciate the $4.99 super chat. My problem is, who do we replace with him? That's my issue. The plan Bs, I don't trust them. No effing Santander.
Yeah, I don't want Santander either, Dave. I'm completely with you on that. I don't want an all or nothing hitter. I think it's been a problem that Cashman's chased before. We can go a litany of moves that the Yankees have made post 2010, where they've been chasing these 30-year-old hitters that strike out too much and hit some bombs, but tend to tail off once they become Yankees, because they're not going to ascend at 30 plus years old. It's only going to get worse. And we've been chasing that. So we need to move off of that. Soto wasn't just a power hitter. He could do anything. Anything. If he was an on-base guy, he'd be an on-base guy. If he was asked to be a power guy, he'd be a power guy. He's one of those guys that's just generational. You can't replace that. Let's be honest. You just can't.
The one thing that really can't be replaced are the supporters in the chat tonight. Do appreciate every single one of you. If you want, just hit that like button. If you're considering subscribing, we did leave the chat open for comments tonight, but we do appreciate if you guys would consider subscribing to join chats in the future, as we will be back on at 10 in the morning. But so this chat will definitely be going for a little while, and then again in the morning. But look, I think the plan B is just whatever moves we are able to make next. And there's just nothing comparable. It's you were trying to secure Soto for the outfield, finish securing up your outfield. Focus on that first. But I think that now it's all right. We need a left fielder. We need first base. We still need either a second or third. We still need some bullpen pieces. That there's a lot that has to be done. So I don't know if there's a player that's like, if they get this deal done by the time we come back on tomorrow, might as well. Yeah,
I was going to say,
I 100% agree.
I think, but the thing is, the Blue Jays, they were already starting their pivot, so you kind of knew it was between the Yankees and Mets, because the Blue Jays are in on Santander, and they're going to try to extend him. Lou, if you blow a team away with an offer, they might do it. I don't know if the Yankees have what it takes to get Vlad, but I also don't want them.
Jones.
Yeah, that's about it, though. Like, they're going to want more. It's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I think you just wait till he's a free agent.
Yeah.
That's the guy you pursue next year.
He's the only thing that would make me interested in next year. Excited. Well, not maybe excited, but certainly more interested in giving us hope next year if we pull off a deal for him, because he's the only one that can give you representative value to replace Soto. I'm looking at the rest of free agency and the trade names, and they're all fairly. I don't want any part of it.
Yeah, it is slim pickings, free agency and trade. So I know Bellinger isn't the big bat that he once was, or at least was a couple of years ago. But you're telling me that we're not a better team with Cody Bellinger compared to what we have right now? Like, come on. Like, we can't be too greedy at this point. Like, if we got Bellinger for another year or two, it's better than what we have right now and in our outfielder at first base. If we got her, let's just say hypothetically, we get Bellinger and Hernandez. We clear some money with that Bellinger trade, or we move Strom or whatever it is, and we go get a big starting pitcher like Burns, and we add some bullpen guys. That's not Juan Soto, but it's not the worst offseason they could possibly have because you attacked first base, you got the outfielder, you got a good pitcher, and you beefed up your bullpen. You're still a better team. But yes, losing Juan Soto is still going to sting. But I agree. I've been talking about Vlad Jr. during the season.
Yep.
He, to me, is the only one that you can potentially get that would bring you something close to Juan Soto production.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know if the Yankees want to go through that again and then try to extend him and then lose him to the Mets as well, because there's a very good chance he would want to go join that Mets team next year with Juan Soto and Lindor and those guys. So, yeah, I'm starting to lean towards get me Bellinger and Teoscar. If they have to go for the younger option in Santander, I don't really like it, but I think they have to get a big pitcher now, because if you're not going to be able to beat teams up offensively, you got to be able to outpitch them. So maybe their pivot's a pitcher.
I mean, Nolan Arenado, no thanks. I mean,
No.
16 homers, 71 RBIs. He's 33 years old. OPS plus of 101, so he's league average, just around about league average. Alex Bregman, I mean, the Yankees have been interested in him. 26 homers, 75 ribbies, 118 OPS plus. I mean, that's decent. 76. I mean, he's good. I like Alex Bregman. But he's 30 years old, and the Yankees are probably going to have to overpay. And I'm not sure what the upside is.
Well, I think any play is going to be an overpay. The market is going to be. I believe me, it's not going to slow down. Everybody's going to be looking for more money now because they saw the teams that were willing to, put this insane amount of money out for one player. You don't think that their agents now are smelling the pockets that are still full with the Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Dodgers? Believe me, they're far from being like, all right, well, we'll just get what we can get. No, they're gonna push. So none of these plays are gonna come cheap. But even with the sting of tonight, I think, Rob, the players that you mentioned, if we're able to make a trade for Bellinger, get Teoscar, and get Burns and Tanner Scott. Like you just felt you plugged one player into every need that we have. Would you still feel confident going into the next season? Do you still feel like the Yankees addressed issues that really needed to be addressed?
Yeah, they did. Like those are.
And I know it's not on the same level as Soto. I get that.
Okay. It's obvious. I don't think it has to go without saying. But we know that we're not going to have Juan Soto in our lineup. That much is a guarantee now.
Mm-hmm.
He's on Instagram. He's celebrating in a pool. He's chatting with Donovan Mitchell. He's gone. So now we just have to try to move on. Teoscar Hernandez, Cody Bellinger are probably the two best options we can get right now, realistically, because one's a free agent and one's available for trade. I'm not going to get into the fantasy booking of trying to trade for Guerrero because I don't think he's available. And Donnie, I'm not going through this with you again because we already had this conversation last year. I don't know why you don't like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because he's better than anyone we have in our lineup not named Aaron Judge. I'm not doing that again with you. But, yeah, those two players make your team a lot better than what we have right now. And Corbin Burns would probably be the best pitcher on the staff outside of Garrett Cole. So you're better in that regard. And yeah, now I said it in my plans without Soto, I'm spending heavy on pitching.
Yep.
Because you have to be able, if you're not going to out bop everybody now without Soto. They didn't do it last year for a good chunk of the season with Soto. You're going to have to outpitch some teams. And you're going to have to get pitchers that can last the length of a whole season. Corbin Burns is one of those guys. And you need to lock up the back end of that bullpen. Luckily, even though Blake Treinen just signed tonight, there were a couple of people put that in the chat. He's back at the Dodgers, 2 years, $22 million. There's still some very good bullpen arms out there for the back end. Attack the pitching. I didn't say I think they trade for Vladdy. I said I want them to get Vladdy. There's a big difference, Donnie. Use your ears.
Yeah, Vlad's the only trade that would move the needle for me. But, I mean, if the Yankees, say, brought in Bregman for third and Bellinger can play the outfield, would that be the worst thing? No. And then you could maybe go and sign Max Fried. I mean, all right, it's not the worst thing in the world. But I think it's pretty much 100% certain the Yankees are not going to make the World Series next year. No, I just don't see it. There's too many holes, and Soto covered up for far too many holes. Now, there could be people that make the argument maybe it's a blessing in disguise that the Yankees now learn their lessons, and over relied on one player to cover a bunch of holes. They've done that with Aaron Judge, and now Aaron Judge is in his 30s without a championship because the Yankees didn't put a team around him. And now we go, now we lost Soto. I'm just not sure how they realistically can make the team better, right? When you don't have a first baseman, you don't have a third baseman, you don't have a left fielder, you don't have a bullpen, you don't have a number 2 starter. There just seems to be far too many holes. And I just know, and there's not really the kind of players available that can cover them all. Not if you want to make a World Series. And the only thing that's acceptable now is to make a World Series after you just lost the World Series. So what I'm saying is the optics of losing your star player that got you to the World Series, losing that completely. How do they then make the argument to the fan base and to the rest of the league, we're a better team now without him, and we're going to make the World Series? If there were other names available in free agency, if there was like a Bryce Harper, if there was anything like that where you could go, right, we'll just attack these guys, we'll be fine. But it doesn't work like that. Like, we've passed up on some great names, and that's why the Yankees have been a little bit late. They've been a little bit late to address these issues. They could have had Bryce Harper for cheap. They could have had Manny Machado, but they passed them up on. And now the Yankees had to try and overpay and offered the whole world, moon and the stars for Soto, and still lost them. And now what? Now you've got 2 aging stars and a bunch of nothing in the lineup.
And there was some rumors that they were in on Hernandez. I think it was Chris Cotillo that put out that they were in on, what was it, Crochet. Maybe they go that route, trading for Crochet. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're gonna do. It's all a waiting game. Nobody has the answers because nobody knew what was going on. QT Hook, the Yankee crybabies are out early. It's not early. It's 11:30. I don't know.
Well, they are a sloppy team.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we know. We said it all. Even during the World Series, they played incredibly sloppy. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he's talking to Donnie. I don't know if he's calling us crybabies, but
Yeah, no, we as cranky as we are, we're not, crying, in our milk right yet. We're speaking the way it is.
I'm desperately upset. I'm pretty much critical on the Yankees.
We're bringing up
I'm critical on Soto for the fact that the Yankees offered him a record contract, and despite the fans just giving him everything, and he still kind of turned that down. It makes me a little bit sick, considering the year that he just had with us. It makes me feel pretty sick about that. So yeah, I'm not going to forgive him for it. To go to the Mets, whatever. But still, I'm more critical on the Yankees. And it's not that they missed them because they offered everything. I don't criticize that contract. I wouldn't have gone a penny more because I was saying in the chat to Tats and Rob, I was like, at some point, Hal just needs to go, right, what's it going to take? What are we going to do here? Because we know that the Mets are always going to offer more. What's it going to take for you to be a Yankee? Let's get this done. And it just, I think that Hal tried to draw a line and go, right, we're offering you this. Come on. But he still passed it up for $4 or $5 million more per year. Fair enough. Fuck you.
Technically, it's like 40 something extra because the Mets are going to void that opt out, I would assume, which would pay him $805 million total at the end of the contract. So yeah, that why is he a New York Met? There it is. $805 million more than $760. So
yeah,
it's kind of like when we added that that clause with Cole. If he opts out, we add the extra year, although that never happened and they agreed to the same deal anyway. But the Mets are going to keep him. He ain't going back into free agency unless he doesn't play well and he opts out, but then he would opt in if he's not playing well. He's going to play well. He's going to be really good no matter what. No matter where he went, he was going to play well. It does suck that he's going to be a Met, but at the same time, we only have to see him like 4 times a year. If he would have went to Boston, I'd feel sick. I would have felt absolutely sick if he was in a Red Sox uniform.
Yeah,
I still hate that he went to the Mets, but I always knew the Mets were the biggest threat.
Yeah, then OT Hook would be hearing us. Then we'd be crying.
I just didn't want to have to deal with that because with the damage that guy can do in a full season or 15 seasons in Fenway, you thought Yankee Stadium was a bandbox for him. Like, I'm glad he didn't go to the Red Sox, and I'm glad that one Red Sox podcaster was wrong. But if there's some light in this dark night, then I guess that guy was wrong because he was trying to shut up Jeff Passan, saying you're wrong about this. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what the Yankees are going to do. But I'm hoping that they're going crazy right now and trying to work those phones and get something done because they have to pivot quickly. They can't wait. They have to pivot quickly. What the moves are, my guess is as good as anybody else's.
I mean, at the moment, the Orioles have had a very good off season. I like that they got O'Neill, and I think Gary Sanchez is going to rake now that they moved the wall in. So they've got some power in there, and they've still got some money left over to go and get a starting pitcher. Maybe they go and get Corbin Burns. If they do, then I mean, the Yankees, the best thing the Yankees can hope for is a wild card. I mean, I'm just having to be realistic here. I'm just not seeing where there's going to be optimism. Where are you going to assign that $50 million and smartly? That's the thing. We can put $50 million AAV in a bunch of directions, but you have to do it smartly where it's not going to completely blow you in future years. And that's what I'm concerned about because they're going to be worried now. They'll be like they're going to know that the fans are upset. How are you going to sell to the fans that they lost their best player in the team? So how I'm just panicking now that that Brian Cashman, because I know Brian Cashman very well. We've been seeing him for the last 20 years, and he tends to make panic moves. Like when we lost Cano, made all the wrong moves, and I don't want the Yankees to do the same thing. And for me, if they go and do this Santander Bregman route, and then the Yankees are going to be screwed in like 2 years' time. Hey, maybe even this year. We don't even guarantee. So the best thing we can do is sign Fried or Burns, right? That's the money that you allocate serious money to because you're guaranteed they're going to get some quality there, right? And then you need to be smart regarding the offense. Instead of maybe being top heavy, maybe you go depth wise and look to add better depth through the lineup because there's a massive hole after Aaron Judge and Stanton in the lineup. Jazz Chisholm tried his best, but he's got a golf swing, which I don't think represents a high chance of a lot of contact with him. But he's probably your best bat after that. And then from there, God knows. So I think if the Yankees maybe approached it differently, where they took on some short-term deals, went depth-wise, got quality depth through the whole lineup, they'll at least be a playoff team. But they're not making the World Series. I think that's pretty much official now.
I'm not gonna go that route because I'm not. There's no certainties. The AL is really it's us, Cleveland, Baltimore, Houston, maybe Seattle if they ever decide they want to make the playoffs or not. And Kansas City's really good, but I still think the Yankees are going to be a good team. It's just it sucks that we lost Juan Soto. It's how do they? But you're absolutely right in one thing. They have to be smart. They can't just go say, here's 30 for Bregman, here's 25 for Walker, and that's the money we would have potentially went up for Soto. It's not going to make you better.
That'd be a disaster.
I mean, it will. It'll make you better than we are right now, but it won't make you better than if we had Juan Soto. So those are panic moves. So you
Yeah.
might have to be smart. And do you have to go get, even now, do you have to go get Carlos Santana for a year and just reassess next season? That could be what you do. Try to stay as competitive as possible this year while building your system up even more, or make some trades. I don't know what they're going to do, but you can't panic and go sign 6 different players. First of all, that's not how it works. And second of all, there aren't 6 players out there that are going to replicate Juan Soto, at least on the offensive side. If you got Burns, I'd be ecstatic. I'm still hoping they get him, but it's the offensive free agency that I'm like, ugh. After Soto, I'm just not sold on really a lot of these guys. Even Teoscar Hernandez, I'm like a little hesitant about because of his defense. His defense in left is going to be a disaster. So it's like, what do we do? Do we go for defense or do we go for offense? Because if we want defense in left, we might as well bring fucking Verdugo back. So I don't know what we're going to do. That's why bringing back Soto was such an important thing, because we could have had Judge in left, and I feel a lot more comfortable about Aaron Judge in left field than I would Santander or Hernandez or a reunion with Verdugo. I don't want Pete Alonso. I like the guy, but I don't want them going, you took our guy, we'll take yours. I don't want that. I think Alonso is destined to be a Met, and that's fine.
I want him to be a Met. I don't want the Yankees to get. I want him. Yeah, it's a worry. I mean, my personal opinion, is I don't see any hope. I know it sounds like really, like maybe it's raw and my immediate reaction, but I don't really see much hope. So what I'd probably do, but we can't because we got Aaron Judge, is I'd probably tear it up. New GM, new manager, new analytics, blow the whole fucking thing up and play the kids until there's actually some proper free agents that we can really get better with. But I'm just looking at a roster which is unathletic, sloppy, and it's carried by Aaron Judge, but he's like 33. How much more is he going to give you? I mean, he's already given you 200 home runs over the last like 2.5 seasons. What more can he possibly do? And we still haven't won a world championship. So, honestly, I think probably the best thing the Yankees could do is just to blow the whole fucking thing up and then start afresh. But they can't do it. But that's probably what I would do. Because
no, I don't think that's even on their radar.
Yeah, if like Judge and Cole were close to free agency, maybe you would consider like
the end of
them.
their contract, maybe. Yeah. But no, but I can't blame the Yankees for this. I don't. It's not like they got to the 600 mark, or 650 and went, yeah, we're good, we're out. Like they went all the way to 760. This was not for a lack of effort. This was just he took the extra money, the extra money in the contract from the Mets. It sucks. Do I think that the Yankees can still be a highly competitive team next year if the right moves are made? Absolutely. I don't think, would it have been more, would I be more confident if we had Soto back? Absolutely. Who wouldn't? But am I just going to, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I really don't. But it's a lot of the sentiment around the Yankee universe. There's no white flags that get waved in the Bronx. We play the season out. We grind it out. We'll cheer on the wins. We'll break it all down. We'll be pissed off when they lose. We'll break it all down. And we're all going to sit in front of TV or the radio and tune into the next game. Because that's what we do.
I'm just trying to think about like 2016. That was actually a smart pivot by Brian Cashman, where we had some overpaid guys, we had some bad contracts, and he actually made moves for the future. And for the next couple of years after that, I was really positive about it because they had a vision, they had a plan. I'm just not sure what the Yankees' vision is right now. And so I don't blame the Yankees for losing Soto
Okay.
because that was a hell of a contract. It was a great contract. The fact that he turned it down makes me sick that he turned it down. So I'm more pissed at Soto for turning it down. But I'm critical of the Yankees over the past because the reason why we're here and we're so desperate for Soto is because of the holes that we've allowed to accumulate because of poor roster decisions, poor roster allocate, poor money allocation, poor resource allocation, and the lack of a World Series win since 2009. And they could have won a World Series had they not doubled down on poor decisions. And that's the fact. That is a fact. So when Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone spent each offseason telling us that, oh, other teams are catching up to us, but we're still the big bad Yankees. And meanwhile, we're being lapped, right? That's what I'm talking about. And now we're in this situation where we had to offer Juan Soto $760 million just to make us look like a competitive team. That's a bad look because we passed on guys like Bryce Harper and Machado. Had we had Harper or we had a Machado, would we needed to panic this much? No, probably not. So that's what I'm talking about. It's just like previous decisions have gotten to us this point because they gave Aaron Hicks a 10-year contract. They took on Josh Donaldson's $50 million. These issues. And that's why we're in this spot where we've got a barren roster. And we've had Aaron Judge in his prime hit 62 home runs. And how did the Yankees build around him? They didn't. So that's why I'm upset. And that's why I think that the best thing they could possibly do is rebuild because there's nobody that I like that's available. And I don't want the Yankees to go through the same shit as I've already witnessed between 2013 to 2016, where we had all these bad contracts and because we kept trying to compete to make the Yankee fans happy, but all we did was just keep taking on more bad contracts without a vision. And I don't want that. I really don't want that. That's why I've gone kind of nuclear. And there's a reason for that. It's because I've seen it in the past with Brian Cashman. And that's why it's probably best if we actually move on and start afresh.
Well, that's why my argument always was. It's not that the Yankees didn't spend money. They spent a shit ton of money. They just never spent it properly. That's always been my stance on it. Yeah. You know, and this isn't about Yankees not going after anybody. They made so many bad pivots, and I think that's what's got us all on edge tonight. Is another bad pivot, as Rob said earlier a couple times. You know, they can't go and make a stupid move just to try to appease us. You want to make us happy. Take your time, evaluate the right players, and put a competitive team on the field next year. That's all we ask for. If you see a need in the midseason, we'll make it.
Well, that also goes into what Donald was saying because they failed to do that in multiple trade deadlines in a row.
Yeah.
Because they could have easily went for it this past trade deadline and they didn't do it. They got Jazz, which I still like the addition of Jazz. And my God, do we need him now more than ever? But that's it. Like the other moves they made did not pan out. Mark Leiter wasn't good until the World Series, but the other idiot, De Los Santos was one of the worst trades I've ever seen in my life. And exactly. So that was their trade deadline. The year before that, I don't even remember what they did. I don't think they did anything. No, they stood pat. And the year before,
Scott Efros?
No, that was the year before that. 2023 was Middleton. Was Keenan Middleton.
Yeah. Oh, that was horrible. That's right.
That was it. So 2022 was they went all for it, and every single move somehow went to backfire. Every single one of them got hurt. Every single one of them got hurt. So I still don't blame Cashman for that one because he went for it. It's just that luck for whatever reason just struck us the wrong way. But that combined with not going after the Machados and the Harpers of the world, but going after the LeMahieu's and a second time, going after a second contract with Chapman, taking on Donaldson, still having to pay Aaron Hicks. We're still dealing with the repercussions of that. I thought we were done with Josh Donaldson. We're not done with him. He's going to freaking he's casting his ugly shadow over this franchise for the rest of his goddamn life because taking on that contract has affected us to this day. So, yeah, Donald has an absolutely spot on point. I would like to be like, let's just move on, but we can't move on from that Joey Gallo,
True.
which that trade turned out to be terrible. We think about just everything that's happened in a window that was supposed to be wide open for us with Aaron Judge in his prime, and everything's been outside of the Soto trade and the Cole signing. Everything's kind of been a disaster.
Yeah.
Every
Joey
move they've
Gallo is
made.
why I don't want Santander. I don't want strikeout guys that can hit a bit of home runs. And Gallo at the time was actually a better player than Santander at the time when we acquired him because he was hitting 40 home runs regularly and was a good outfielder. Santander isn't a good outfielder. And
Gallo was an
and
all-star.
I'm worried, man.
That's why I don't know. Like, I wish I had answers. Like, what can we do that makes sense? I just think you have to get Bellinger. That's a start, and maybe Profar would help. But again, I think the moves they have to make have to be like for 1 year, and then you have to really go for Vladdy or Murakami next year. That's really it. But
No, I
I
agree.
still think they should get a big pitcher. That I think they have to. The pivot has to be, we got to outpitch you, because we're not going to be able to put up 10 runs on a nightly basis with Soto gone. It's just not going to happen.
If next year's free agency was this year's free agency, I would not be nearly as upset, right? Because we'd have pivots. We would have the Japanese first baseman. We could have gotten Vladdy if we could have make a run at him anyway. I mean, that's a pivot. But I'm just looking at this year, and it's really hard for me to get excited by anything. So Lucas says here, Montas sucked knowing hell he should have been a Yankee. I think you're right. I think Pete said he wasn't. He didn't want Montas either. Castillo was the move, yeah, and
We all said that.
They passed up on that too, and all the moves failed, and that's why I don't trust Brian Cashman. So the way I view it is World Series are bust, and if we can't compete for a World Series, and there's no point chasing something that you're not going to get. I think Soto, if you got Soto, then right, we're in the World Series chase. Now we add a couple smart pieces around him, we're good. Now we've lost that. Now I really think that it might be a blessing in disguise in terms of maybe the Yankees now start looking at the reasons why they haven't won instead of putting a lot of money into one player to save them. And Soto was our savior. He was our savior last year. So we don't have that savior now. And I think that the Yankees need to change the way that they approach things. And now I'm not interested in personnel. There's not a single player that we could acquire other than Vladdy, and we're not going to acquire him, that makes me interested in next season. One thing that would make me interested in is if the Yankees start approaching how they do things. I want them to start looking at their management. They need to start looking at their analytics. They need to start looking at their development. All these things that Soto, by the way, asked questions on. So I'm not just ranting this. I really do believe that Soto had concerns about this. And the Yankees are outdated. So, yeah, that's the way I'm at. It's a sad day. It's a really sad day.
Red Mob, all lowercase. I think he might be new, so welcome to the chat. He says, "This is the best thing that could have happened. We are forced to do something. If we don't, then we're a third place team." Yeah, we'll see what they do. Can we get Vlad next year in free agency? I would feel a lot more confident.
I don't think it's a trade option.
If he becomes available in trade, you do whatever it takes. But I think they're going to pursue him. But yeah, I was looking at next year's free agency class. It's crazy. Kyle Tucker is a free agent. Salvador Perez, I know he's older, but he's a free agent. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If we lost Soto and next year's free agency, I'd be a lot more like, okay, let's pivot to get Murakami, Guerrero, Tucker, even Schwarber's going to add a ton of offense. Not anything defensively, but
Tucker's good.
I love Kyle Tucker. That might I can't see him leaving Houston. Just like I really can't see Vladdy leaving Toronto. I don't know if they let Vladdy leave Toronto, they might not sell another ticket because Bo Bichette's also a free agent. They got to try to bring one of them back. If they want anyone to go to their games.
I mean, I wouldn't make Spencer Jones available had we acquired Soto, but now that we haven't, I would make him available for a quote unquote star caliber player that might be hitting free agency next year, um, and maybe try and change the trajectory a little bit. But I agree with Greg. I think that's why Soto took off to the Mets. It wasn't just I think the money was a big part of it, but I think he will. I think he liked what he heard from the general manager, and I think he liked what he heard from the manager. And they've got a really good manager. They've got a good general manager too. And the Mets wiped the floor of the Yankees last year, and that was without Soto. The Mets didn't have Soto, and they still wiped the floor with the Yankees in those games. Now they've added them; they're going to be a legit team. So I'm not that high on the Yankees. I'm really not. I'm not high on the roster. I think Soto covered a lot of holes, and that's why I'm so deeply upset. Because it was a hell of a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun going to the games and watching Soto do his thing. He was incredible to watch live in person. His at-bats were just mind-blowing. And it's utterly heartbreaking. Heartbreaking to see.
You're not wrong about that. I'm just again, it sucks. It's gonna suck, and we have another show to do in the morning. It's gonna suck even more then because I'm sure there's some people that are gonna be there in the morning show that aren't here tonight. There's nothing to be excited about. Volpe, well, I don't. I think he's a shortstop because we don't have any other options. I don't see him moving to second base or anything. Maybe not now. Maybe in a couple of years, but. I would feel a lot more comfortable if Spencer Jones wasn't striking out at 40% clip. If he was having like these really good numbers, I'd be like, all right, well at least he's on the come up. They can use that. But what do we do now? Do we rely on Everson Pereira? Like we can't do that. I like Pereira, but we can't be like just call up the kids because we just went to the World Series. We can't be like. All right, with Aaron Judge now a year older and Garrett Cole a year older coming off of an injury, we got to retool. We can't do that. We got to try to win. So
that's why I'm worried. What do you think about this? I mean, you've been quiet. I mean, do you think the Yankees can realistically be okay next year?
I got to see what they do next. I think there are pieces I think there are players they can get that will make this team competitive. Will they feel like the same juggernaut they did last year? No, but I still think that the moves are there to actually make a run. I think the Yankees, if they get a Teoscar and a Bellinger, Tanner Sky, Fried and all those, I think they can still win the division. I really do. I think they have the right pieces. I think they already have a core of players that can be successful. You just got to bring in, especially guys with that type of experience, especially with Bellinger and Hernandez. I think I think they'd be very good in that lineup. Like until they're on this team. No, is my confidence? Am I saying all right? Well, we'll still be able to get back to the World Series next year. No, I can't. No, I don't. And nobody can say that. Are they going to finish in last place? Nobody can say that either. It's we still have to we still have to survive the rest of the off season.
Good God. Yeah,
I think we're one of the two best teams. We're still one of the two best teams in the division because Toronto hasn't gotten better. Boston. They haven't really done anything. In Tampa Bay, you never know with them. I still think right now we're probably the second best team because Baltimore did get better, but at the same time their pitching is still a little iffy. because they didn't bring back Burns yet, so they got to get
The
better.
Orioles go better. The Orioles go better.
They did, but it wasn't like significantly better. They're going to be missing Corbin Burns. If they don't get a big pitcher to replace him, then they haven't really made that significant leap. So inside the division, I still think we have a very good chance to win it again, but do we have enough to get by a team like Kansas City that's going to get better? Because they did get better. They got Jonathan India. So it's about beating. To me, I'm not really. I'm always worried about the division, but I also have to see what's next. It's like Tad said, I'm almost at a loss for words because I'm still thinking about those pictures if I'm seeing him in orange and blue. But yeah, it's about what they do next. But they cannot go stupid and get a guy like Arenado and be like, okay, do what you did 5 years ago, Nolan, because we need it. That's what they fucking did that with Donaldson, and
they've been doing that a lot.
I don't want them to do that again. So be smart.
Jonathan's right. There's 28 likes and there's 130 people in the chat. So the math ain't mathin', guys. So we would really appreciate if people who are watching would hit the like button for us. It will really help the algorithm. Hit the sub button if you haven't already done so. Good to see Sam Trumley in the front. This is the first time I've seen him in the chat. So salute to you, man. Back to the poverty Yankees. Yeah, I mean, we didn't make the playoffs until we got Soto, and now I don't know what that means for us. But Lou is quite right that the American League is cheeks compared to the National League. The National League is going to be a bear for Soto to return to a World Series, even with the Mets team. So the Yankees' path would be a little easier, but not with this roster. I think we can make that pretty clear. The way I view it is the Yankees are kind of in no man's land a little bit. That's the situation. They're kind of in no man's land. So you got your Aaron Judge, you got your Garrett Cole, but they're also aging. There's a big steep drop off after that in the rest of the roster, and now you're kind of in this situation where you're like, well, is it best to rebuild rather than retool, or do you retool and try and chase a situation that it might be smarter to go the opposite? But that's why I feel like they're kind of in no man's land a little bit, and that's what's going to be fascinating to see how they do things, because as I said, I've not seen the Yankees have a vision since 2017. That's the last time I've seen the Yankees have a vision. They chose a vision, and you could make the argument, oh, but they acquired Soto. But they never went all out after they acquired Soto, and that's what we're talking about. They brought in Marcus Stroman. They didn't even trust him to throw a single pitch in the postseason, for Christ's sake, right? So that was their answer to acquiring a guy like Soto. So they didn't really choose a direction. The Dodgers chose a direction. They've been choosing a direction for years now. We're going all in, and they've followed that all the way. And the Yankees haven't done that. They've been a little bit in between. They've been dipping their toes, and we kind of want to have our farm system too. And they keep doing it. And now we're in a situation where we've got a steep, massive drop-off after Stanton in the lineup. Judge, Stanton, and then a massive drop-off and a bit of Jazz Chisholm. That's why I'm concerned.
Well, let's look at this from Lou and Nikki also bringing up about Alonso. I don't want Alonso because I just don't want them to give like a 4-year deal out. But if they went like a trade for Bellinger and got Santana on a 1 year, you got a first baseman and an outfielder. 2 good bats, two good defenders, so you've solved 2 issues right there. And then you still have, assuming they get the Cubs to eat some money, that's not going to cost you that much, and you have enough to go get pitching help. You do have a better overall team there, but obviously, again, you're still going to miss Juan Soto. But that could be their vision for this year, is just to try to be as competitive as you can while leaving some money for next season, because now you kind of have to go after attack next year's free agency. Yeah, Belly with that. That's why I'm going for him. I know everyone's like, oh, he had a bad year last year, but I'm thinking about him in Yankee Stadium.
Nice.
That's what I'm thinking of.
It's a no-brainer.
Now I'm saying my nibbler. I like the name, but I I'm going at the pitching. If you want, because I think you're new to the chat, so welcome. Go back and watch our offseason plan videos. We
Yeah.
did one with both, with and without Soto. So now we have to focus on the without. I had loading up on pitching and getting Teoscar Hernandez and Lamont Wade and Bell. I didn't have Bellinger. But
Daniel
now, no, I didn't have Lowe. I had Lamont Wade. Now I'm starting to think go get Bellinger and Santana. So kind of mixing my two plans together while keeping everything else the same. Burns and Tanner Scott. I think that might be the plan because this allows you to keep money for next year. Because Bellinger would be a 2-year commitment at the most, 1 year for Santana, and you'd be spending on the pitching, which you desperately need because, again, if you're not going to out-hit people, you got to out-pitch them.
Yeah, I mean, my plan was Bellinger, Max Fried, and Williams from the
Milwaukee.
Brewers. Yeah, that was my plan because that you upgrade a closer, you upgrade a starter, and you get Bellinger. That was my moves. If you missed out on Soto, so I'd follow that, and it's a smarter play because I don't want to take on long-term contracts. I think that's what's gotten us in trouble in the past. Not for guys plus 30. I don't want to take on multiple years for guys that are plus 30. It's not a smart way to go. You look for a little bit of upside. Bellinger can give you that upside. I think he could probably give you. I think if you checked his analytics, I think he could have hit 24 home runs if he was at Yankee Stadium last year. Bellinger. So I would do that. I think you get a little bit more out of him there. But now you also need to get OBP, right? You need to get a little more power. You need to get some OBP because you're losing Soto's 420 OBP. So how are the Yankees going to make that up? And we're not even talking about Gleyber Torres, by the way, who was no slouch in the playoffs. In fact, he was really good in the playoffs. So now you're losing his production as well. So you're losing his production, and we have no interest in bringing him back, which is fine because he was so bad defensively. But so you lose that, and now you lose Juan Soto's generational bat. The Yankees actually have quite a lot of work to do. I'm not sure where they're going to go because they need to go. They need to be athletic. They need they need some smart baseball players, smart players. Not the Santanders that are just going to chase home runs. Smart baseball players. And that's why Soto is such a huge loss because it's not just the 40 homers and the 100 RBIs. You can make that up. But you also lose someone who's a throwback to an era where on base and batting average and hitting in the clutch was king, right? I know it's a little bit outdated now. But by the way, that's what counts in October. And that's why the Yankees have sucked so bad until Soto came in October because he was someone that actually focused on that shit. And no one else does, including our captain. So, I mean, that's the kind of shit I'm worried about. We've lost a throwback player, and I'm looking at the rest of this roster, and no one else in that roster is very fucking smart. So, I'm very worried. Very, very worried how they're going to pivot.
No, out there, we'll wait and see. It's all a waiting game. But it's been an hour and 23 minutes. It's late. Donald, it's like 5 a.m. where you are. So unless we have anything else we want to add to this,
well, I mean, if you guys want to head off, I mean, there's plenty of people in the chat. If anyone wants to comment, I mean, if you guys are tired, I completely understand.
I can talk all night about this. Yep. I don't think I'm going to be sleeping very much.
No, I'm not. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. That's given up. I feel like my world is ended. I'm broken, guys. I almost need therapy. So if 136 people in the chat can try and cheer me up, I would love that because I am thoroughly broken and I'm not afraid to say it.
Yep.
Thank you, Josh.
But that's really the whole. That's the Yankee community all wrapped into one comment.
He's getting
Nicholas
wasted.
I'm getting wasted. I don't know what else to do. I had plans. I was like, right, I don't really want anything for Christmas. I want a Juan Soto jersey for Christmas. So I was going to wait till he signed and then request the Juan Soto jersey for Christmas for my birthday. And that's cooked. That is completely cooked now. So I was really looking forward to going to New York for opening day. That's cooked. So a lot of my plans are completely cooked, and I'm very upset about it.
But I like this comment here from Nick. He's at work. We're helping his night go faster. He goes, he can't watch the Met channels. They just brag too much for his taste. For one night, I'm surprised you're actually not joining the bragging with them over there.
Yeah, man. It says a lot about you, bro. You're a real one. We appreciate it.
Like I said, I was ready to just turn my phone off when the news came out. Because I'm like, man, my cousin and my brother are going to drive me up a wall. But
nauseating.
Yeah.
But Uncle Taz is worried about my health because I sent him a video of my trashing my room on the news. So yeah, I think this is probably the best thing for me right now is chatting to a bunch of guys and trying to cheer them up.
No, it's. I think one of the narratives that's also interesting is, the Yankees that do they have enough in their farm where they can kind of, I don't want to say, cash in the season or kind of just wing through it. I think they are going to want to stay relevant. But do they have enough in the farm where they can wait for the next offseason? And like you said, Donald, just go for just kind of retool a little bit with some of the players that are going to be free agents. How would the fans really take that if they went that route?
That's the problem. That's the problem. They always say you can't rebuild in New York.
Well, you kind of can't. I mean, hey, Donnie, don't mention that name on here.
No.
Yeah, you can't rebuild. The Yankees can't rebuild because there's several rebuilds going on in the state of New York right now with sports teams. Football is a mess outside of the Buffalo Bills, and basketball, one team's rebuilding, but you can't rebuild in baseball. At least the Yankees can't, because you cannot sell the Yankees on or Yankee fans on we're going to reset, because even though people might want to see it, you can't do it. Even 2016 wasn't actually a rebuild. It was more like a retool. Because even though they traded some players away, they still almost made the playoffs that year. In 2016, they added Tyler Clippard, and he ended up pitching lights out for them. That was insane how good he was for one season or half a season. And then 2017 came around, they almost went to the World Series. So there's no such thing as a rebuild for the Yankees. And there never can be when you're trying to when you have a payroll as high as it is. You can't. And especially when you have Aaron Judge on your roster and Garrett Cole. You can't rebuild. So no one's going to believe that. But if you add good players to the roster, and no, it's not Juan Soto, but if you got Burns and Scott and you beefed up the rotation in the bullpen and you got a Bellinger and a Santana, the team isn't as sexy name-wise with Juan Soto in there, but it's still a good team. That's still a team that's probably going to go out and compete and win an AL East title and may go win the American League again. No one knows, but it's just hard to sell people right now, obviously with the pain that we're all feeling, that knowing that he's going to be playing in Queens and not the Bronx. But there are ways for this team to be still very good. It's just so difficult after the year we experienced with Soto to say that's not going to be here anymore. It sucks, but there are ways to make this team better. Look, Mets fans have every right to be happy.
Yep.
They have every right to be happy. They got an owner that's willing to spend whatever it takes, and he said he's not going to get beaten. He didn't get beat. He's still got $50 million to play with before he goes over his own threshold that they made for him. It's his fault we have this Cohen tax, and he's still got $50 million to play with to make his team better before he hits that number. So he can go get Pete Alonso and maybe even go get a good starting. I don't know if he can get Burns, but maybe they can get a Max Fried. And guess what? The Mets are still a really good team. They probably need to go to the bullpen more, though, but they can still do all those things. And he'll probably have no problem going over that tax again if it means they have a chance to go back to where they were last year. Mets fans should be happy. They should be bragging. I hate seeing Mets fans happy, but you know what? I can't blame them.
No, I mean, they have every right to be happy. I mean, it's tough to stomach. I'm not confident that they're that much better than the Phillies, and they're not going to beat the Dodgers. So, I mean, there's that. But from the Yankees' perspective, it's easy for me to say because I try and be objective and I try and look at the big picture and I'm trying to think, are the Yankees going to realistically make it to a World Series? No. So that's why I'd probably rebuild. But then I am not an owner that has that you're owning the biggest franchise in the world and you've got fan base expectations, and not a lot of fans have that mindset. You still need to try and sell seats. You need to try and sell your chicken buckets, and you also need to make an effort because you got Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole there. If we didn't have those contracts, then I would very, very easily just say blow the whole fucking thing up. But we can't do that now. So the best way we can do it is to not take on long-term contracts and focus on 2026. So you can still have a decent team 2025, focus on development, and then go all out in 2026. That's the way I'm thinking. Let's see. The best thing the Yankees could do, I still stand by that, is to blow up the management structure, though. I really do. I don't hate Brian Cashman as much as other people do. I trust Brian Cashman a hell of a lot more than I trust Aaron Boone, because Brian Cashman does have a track record of success, of acquiring decent players in the past. But I just think that he has made a mistake where he hasn't chosen a philosophy, and now the Yankees are kind of in between, and they're in a bit of trouble. And he's been arrogant. He is arrogant. And I think that the best thing the Yankees could do is to move on. Move on from Aaron Boone, move on from Brian Cashman, move on from Mike Fishman, and have someone else approach how we deal with the post-Soto era. Well, yeah, Donnie, Hal did try. And I don't want to hear anyone criticize Hal Steinbrenner. He did everything he possibly could.
Yep.
Did everything he possibly could. The fact that contract wasn't enough for Juan Soto makes me more pissed at Soto, not Hal. It's a perfectly good offer. Because at the end of the day, Aaron Judge wanted to come back. Hal was like, what's it going to take? What do you need to be a Yankee? Aaron Judge gave that number. The Yankees made that deal happen, right? He had the same approach with Juan Soto. Juan Soto chose the Mets. So fuck him. So salute to Aaron Judge, because at least Aaron Judge, had loyalty, but there's no loyalty with Juan Soto. So I'm not going to forgive him. Even though he's my favorite player in the league, I'm never going to forgive Soto for that. Never.
Yeah, it's tough it's a tough pill to swallow because we enjoyed it for a year, but my nibbler, Boone's back, guaranteed. It's next year that we could potentially see a managerial change. I wouldn't expect them to make any changes with the manager yet. Nicky, you can't trade for Torres because he's a free agent. See, Soto, that's what you're getting with when going to Queens. Just messing with you, Nicky. Yeah, I can't. I don't know. If anyone's blaming Hal Steinbrenner, please go check yourself into a mental facility. If you're gonna dare call that guy cheap for offering someone $760 million, I don't want to talk to you. That's all I know. That is wild. That is a wild amount of money. We got some. It looks like we got some new people popping in. Friday at John's, the Yankees are doomed. It seems that way right now, but hey, we'll see if they make any changes. And a humble and gentle Mexican. I like the name. Guys, this is not anyone's fault. Soto is not a guy we want in Monument Field. I just want ownership to start spending. I agree and I disagree. I want them to start spending smartly, humble and gentle Mexican. Really going to enjoy saying that name. And I want them to spend smartly, although... Yes, Glaber's a free agent, but although if he had stayed here, he would have had a monument immediately. Like, let's be honest here. That's how good of a player Juan Soto is. And I agree, Friday.
That's a great point. Kyle Tucker. Is there a way we could get Kyle Tucker? What about Turner?
Is there a reason you backed out, Tats? Because I can.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're good. We're good now.
All right. I saw him sitting back. I was like, let me add Tats back, and he looked a little surprised. But I would love Kyle Tucker. Trust me on that one. We can get Kyle Tucker next year. That's going to help numb the pain from that what happened tonight. Mm-hmm. But it won't be for another year.
I'm more worried about what we're gonna, with some of the concern. I'm not as worried as Donald. I mean, I'm concerned because we're going into this next season with a much weaker team. Because moves still have not been made. We could talk about all the players we want. Until they come here, they're just an idea. And I think that's what really rattles the nerves even further. So I just don't want the front office to just quit on the off season, and we've been able to weather the storm a lot. We get to the playoffs almost all the time. We haven't had a losing season since '93. Like there are things, and I get, without the championship, nobody cares about the other stuff. That's really the ultimate goal of anybody. Whether you're an owner, a player, or a fan, the goal is to win. And the Yankees were very close last year because of one player. And that player now is not around. He's not available in the lineup. He's not available in the outfield. So it's such a tough pill to swallow. It really is.
So Brandon Cuddy says the Yankees have had Zooms with Corbin Burns and Max Fried. They really like Max Fried, apparently. Minaya is familiar with him from in the past. Some within the Yankees all along were questioning if they could use the money Juan Soto will be getting by spreading it around to multiple players. Now we'll see.
But again... Think about you were saying this, the AAV was 47.6. That was what they were going to give Soto. Mm-hmm. Corbin Burns is going to get 35 at least, right? And Fried would probably get 30. So it's like, are you really going to be able to give that to 5 players? No, absolutely not. At least not 5 good ones. You can get 1 or 2. You can get 1 really good one and then 4 sort of players. But are we going to settle for No. We're going to settle for, hey, I can get on board with that. So going to a humble and gentle Mexican's comment, you can sign 2 to 3 guys and give us a World Series run. I mean, I agree. I would love to, but who are those 2 to 3 players? Is it a pitcher and a hitter? Is it 2 hitters? Is it 2 pitchers? Because I think you can still get 2 really good players, but you have to be smart about how the rest of the money gets spent. Now they have basically $70 million to allocate. So now you maybe can get 4 players or so for $70 million. But again, it's all about spending smartly. You can't just be like, okay, well now we didn't get Soto, so here you go Bregman, here you go Burns, here you go Walker. Let's go past 301 for a bunch of 30-year-olds. That's not spending smartly. That's just kind of panicking and saying we gotta replace this guy somehow. And that's the same problem they had when Cano left, and I don't want to do that again.
Well, they need to. They have a bunch of things they need to replace. They need to replace a 420 on base percentage. Need to replace 40 plus home runs and 100 plus RBIs. You're not going to be able to do it in one player. That player left, so you have to spread it around. But another thing you also have to replace is clutch hitting. So we also need to prioritize contact. You can spread the money around, but how you spread the money around is something that I've just not seen from Brian Cashman. Because, by the way, he's had years to do this. He's had years to put a team around Aaron Judge, and he has failed spectacularly. And, and as I've said before, I don't hate Brian Cashman as much as a lot of people do. But I know that he hasn't trusted he hasn't gone a philosophy. The Yankees haven't had a philosophy in years. Last time that Brian Cashman had a philosophy was 2017. It was the best time that he's had, because ever since then it's been a little bit in between. So, how they're going to replace that 420 on base percentage, I have absolutely no idea. But they need to. You can get a little bit of power. They can get that. That's not a problem. But it's the other things. Now, they can get a better defender in the outfield, and that's a little bit of an upgrade, because Soto is not a good defender, and he isn't overly athletic either, Soto. So the Yankees could go a little different direction. If they went with a little bit of athleticism and contact and some decent defense and some speed, and then you add a bit of power as well, and you just make the lineup deeper. That's the only way you can do it. You can't replace Soto by one guy unless you go and make a trade for Vladdy. I love Max Fried, though. If we get Max Fried, I will have a half smile. I'm not going to smile. There's no smile. But I'll get a half smile because I like Max Fried.
See, I like Corbin Burns. Like we're on the same wavelength. We want a pitcher. That's like the only thing that can really help it out a little bit. Bellinger is who they need, and is that Nico Horner you're talking about? Maybe they go in that route. Maybe they just say, "Hey, Cubs, eat some money for Bellinger." The thing is, Horner's coming off an injury. You lost Soto, suck it. Now we're getting the Mets fan. Here they come. But yeah, I don't know if Horner is the right choice because he's hurt. I don't want them taking on another injured player. I just don't know what they do. We'll have to wait and see. Losing Soto sucks, and it's going to continue to suck until we see what the plan B is. We've been hearing about that plan B. We didn't want to hear about it, but it's real now. So let's see what it is. Let's see what they got. I'm not going to judge anything until it's done, until we see what their plan B is.
I think Raziel nailed it. You want to come and you want to talk shit? You're more than welcome to. Just hit the like button. We always enjoy hearing from other fans. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want Vladdy? We're waiting for Vladdy when he's a free agent.
Yeah, we ain't trying. Maybe he's a Blue Jays fan.
Oh, come on, man. You can't mention that guy's name and try and expect me to smile.
Smiling now. See, it worked, Nicky. Good job.
Oh, great.
In a perfect world, we can trade for Vlad, but no. Realistically, we're not trading for him. We can sign him next year. Money always talks, as evidence of tonight, but yeah, we ain't trading for him. I'd be shocked if we made a trade for him. I would kill for Vladdy in a Yankee uniform, but we have to wait till next year.
Yeah, he's the only thing that would make this team like seriously good. But I don't see it.
Well, you don't know who's going to want to go where. I mean, you still have a whole season to play. Like we're going to talk about players that we'd like to have, but it's there's never say never. That's it. For the longest time,
you guys are optimistic, and I need that. I'm saying never, but you guys are optimistic, and I do need that. So.
I'm doing it.
I always try to be the optimistic one.
I'm trying to be optimistic. Well, Vladdy kind of changed his tune on that, Kyle, because last year he said that he wouldn't like say no. So I mean, I'm assuming he's going to re-sign because Toronto would be very foolish to let that guy go. But he was on record saying that a while ago. But last year he kind of changed his tone on that. So if the Yankees come to him and say, "Here's 700 something million," like they were going to give Soto, you think he's going to say, "Yeah, but I don't like you guys." Like, probably freaking take it.
You'll like it. You'll like us every payday.
You know what talks? Money fucking talks. Don't ever let anyone tell you money cannot buy you happiness, because look what it just did for Juan Soto.
Look at why we've been talking for an hour and 45 minutes.
Exactly. If you don't think, if he's a free agent, Donnie, if he is a free agent and the Yankees come to him and say, Toronto's going to give you 6 something, but we'll give you 7 something, and he's going to say, no, I don't like you. Yeah. It's a difference of $100 million. I would be he'd be very stupid to do that. No Yankee fan bias there. You'd be stupid to pass up $100 million extra to go play elsewhere. Aaron Judge could have had that in San Diego, and I respect the hell out of him for taking the Yankees deal, but that's a lot of freaking money you're leaving on the table.
AOG, why do you want someone who didn't want to be here? Well, dude, we were under the impression he did. I mean, we hadn't. The worst thing about these negotiations is we didn't really know. I mean, I woke up very optimistic today when I was reading reports that the Yankees were the favorites. John Heyman said the Yankees were the favorites. And now that I've just found out from Martino that the Yankees were favorites all the way until the last hour. So, but am I disgusted that we've offered the biggest contract we could possibly ever offer anyone? The biggest in baseball, and he turned it down? That makes me sick. That makes me very sick. So, once emotion is taken away from it, then I will maybe be a little bit more, be in your wavelength there, saying, hey, you know what, he didn't want to be here, fair enough. But as of right now, that makes me sick. The fact he doesn't, because we're prideful Yankee fans. I mean, what else have we got? And I don't want our guy here, my nibbler, to get violently drunk, bro. You can get a little drunk, but don't get violently drunk.
And hopefully you're home and you're not going.
Yeah, take care of yourself, man. I'm crushed. I'm just as crushed as you are. I don't drink, but I'm absolutely crushed, and I'm just heartbroken, completely heartbroken. So I'm right with you, but they ain't worth it. They ain't worth it. Soto ain't worth it, and the Yankees ain't worth it.
You know what? You don't drink. We went out to an Irish pub and you wanted a water.
That's right. I don't drink. So, yeah. Crushed.
Just drinking. All right. Well, yeah. Well, stay safe, Nibbler. Do that. Stay safe. Don't go out attacking Mets fans, because we want to see you in our chat more. We don't want to hear that my Nibbler got arrested after one night of being a subscriber to the channel. Stay safe, my friend.
This kind of is a after dark type show, so we're covering all the bases tonight.
So you got John Paul de Jesus. Everyone is in the dumps right now after being gut punched. Where do we go from here to become competitive? Yeah, we've been talking about for an hour and 48 minutes, basically. John Paul, we don't know. We really don't know. Like, we've been giving ideas, but we don't know. Pitching, I still think it's you load up on pitching and you get a couple of good bats and you just hope that you can outpitch teams. But because
that's it.
You can't replace Soto.
We're all in agreement that Bellinger needs to be the move.
Yeah, I think
we're all in agreement that Max Fried or Corbin Burns, and then you get a closer or a big time bullpen arm. We're all in agreement about that. We're all we all have little bit different ways in which we go about it. My personal viewpoint is I don't want to take on any long-term contracts. I want to keep it short-term and then focus on next offseason when there's better free agents. That's what I want to do. So I don't really want to get into the free agents that are currently around. So I don't really want anything to do with Pete Alonso or Santander or anything like that, or Walker. I don't want any of that shit because I don't want to stop us from attacking next offseason where there's more money coming off the books and there's better players available. So if that means that the Yankees have to just be kind of shit this year, which it looks like they will be, then so be it. That's the way I view it. But my biggest priority is I need to rebuild this entire management structure completely, tear it up. But they're not going to do it.
No,
They
the first thing I'm doing is I'm getting rid of Rojas at third base.
Oh, he needs to be fired yesterday.
I can't have him flailing his arms, stop, go, like he's, it's ridiculous. I still can't get over him sending Stanton. Like that still haunts me. like he should have been pulled off the field right there. But I think Rob has the right philosophy. I think we go heavy on pitching to try to circumvent the loss of the offense. I think that's the way the Yankees need to pivot to kind of ease the pain a little bit.
Good thing is they can do both.
They can.
Just you're not gonna get Soto production, but Bellinger and what the fuck's his name, Santana would be fine additions. Because Bellinger would be a great defender in center, and Santana would be a great first baseman. So you're gonna beef up your defense. I trust Jazz will be fine at third because now you won't need to move him back to second to help Judge's arm. Judge is gonna be fine back and right. The defense will be better. There's one plus if you get Bellinger and Santana and Judge is back and right. At least your defense will be better. That was a big issue for us, and I think Durbin will be better defensively or Peraza than Torres. So the defense should be spectacular next year. Yep. There's a plus. They'll have more speed. There's a plus. They can create more offense that way, a little more old school hit and run, steal some bases, do things like that. You can create offense. Obviously, it's still going to suck to not have Juan Soto, but you can still create offense in different ways. They just got to get a little more old school. That's really it. And I still think they got to beef up that pitching. That'd be my plan right there. Bellinger, I keep forgetting his name. Santana, I keep calling him Santander. Bellinger, Santana, Burns, Scott, trade Stroman, and you've got the money right there. And I do not want Arenado. If you mention Arenado's name one more time, I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get angry.
Salute to my guy, MH. He is my agent. And it's good to see my agent in the chat. Better than any Scott Boras over here. Apologies for not adding Soto into the Donald Max contract. Oh, dude, you missed it, but it's okay. But thank you so much for joining in. Dude, enjoy Soto. Enjoy it. I enjoyed him for a year. I'm sure you guys will enjoy him for the next 15, 16.
And we got TC, what's going on? What happens now? We wait to see what the next move is. And hopefully he doesn't make a stupid move just to, because he knows that we're on bated breath for some additions to this roster. And just be smart about it. I think, Donald was, concurring with us all earlier. I think the next move is going to be Bellinger and Fried or Burns.
Pitching. We get all in agreement that the best value in free agent. I'm just talking all about value now. Fuck the years, fuck the age. I want to focus on value. Best value in free agency is starting pitching. So that's what you attack. Corbin Burns or Max Fried. That's where you allocate the most dollars. I'm with AOG. Fried, I prefer Fried because I like a lefty.
Yes.
And I like the fact that he was at the Braves, good organization, like those kind of things. I think he'd fit well. So I'm a big Fried fan, and Bailey's great. That was my plan anyway, regardless of Soto. So that's not going to change. I just really want to stay away from the free agent bats because I think that'll be a panic move, and I don't want another. I don't want another post Robinson Cano. We've done that. It was a mistake. Can't do that again.
Yeah, and Rose, that was that's part of the plan. I know adding all those players is more than what we would spend for Soto, but my whole plan is we're gonna get rid of if we get Burns, we have no need for Stroman or Nestor at that point. You
No.
can get rid of both of them. That saves up like almost 27, 26 million, something like that. Then you're gonna have a ton of money to spend. That's where you can maybe give up less to get Bellinger if the Cubs don't have to eat as much money. So it makes it a pretty easy player to acquire. Burns and Santana, those are free agents, and Scott, you would be able to create that money if you trade those two players, and maybe even if you get rid of Trevino or something like that. So you can create money and add those players. That's my whole point. Is I think Stroman's gone.
Well, Stroman's movable. Stroman's at 18.5 for this year.
Yeah, and considering
And
what
that's
pitchers
well
are
within
making,
the market, actually lower on the market.
and
Yeah,
Nestor.
I'd be shocked if no one would take on a Stroman, even if we ate like say like maybe a third of the contract. You would do it.
And also,
Yeah,
Cortez is arbitration, so he was only making 3.96 last year. So how much is he's another contract? He's another guy that's easily.
about what 10? I think Cortez about 10.2.
I think he can get to 10 in arbitration.
I think he's 10.2.
I
think he's
estimate
expected to
10
make
in
like
my numbers.
Fangraphs and like trade rumors and all that. They have him at like 7.5 or 8 million. So that's a movable player
Okay.
for a number 5 starter. That's
Well,
if they get Corbin Burns. I still think they have to get rid of Stroman because just don't know what if they didn't use him in the World Series. How can you say, all right, go out and be the number 3 starter for us? It's like I feel like the relationship's kind of soured.
Yeah, the Rose definitely with it on that one. Would
I love Murakami and I love Sasaki, but Sasaki's going to the Dodgers. It's
Yeah,
a done deal. I would love the Yankees to be involved, but we're not going to find out until January 15th, and we can't afford to wait around. Murakami, he's next year.
Mhm.
So I really wish it was this year. If Murakami was available this year, I'd be like, right, let's go get ourselves Murakami. That would be fun. But no, we don't have that luxury. The worst possible thing that could have happened was was to have such a drastic loss and not have a ready-made replacement in free agency that you know that the Yankees could allocate money to. They don't, and now we have to think about creativity. And I'm sorry, Brian Cashman. That's never been Brian Cashman's strong suit. He's not done. He's not done creativity well ever.
In a perfect world, we can get Sasaki, man. Like, but I from day one, even last year, his name got brought up. I said he's a Dodger.
yeah.
Like the fact that he wanted to come out early. Why do you think that is? Because he can make $100 million right now if he waited, or in 2 years if he waited till he's 25, he can get Yamamoto money. Why do you think he's coming out early? To go to the Dodgers. So I mean, yeah, there's no way he's not going. If he goes anywhere else, it'd be the Padres, Giants, or Mariners. But he ain't. I don't think he's going to be a Yankee. There is one I guess, sort of bright spot. Is we got to get some international money. So maybe we can try to convince Sasaki. Say, hey, we can still pay you a bunch. Maybe.
Yeah.
And we get
You're
an
not
extra
gonna
pick.
have any of your friends, but we can offer you a number 2 starter spot as opposed to a 5th starter spot. But I mean, why would he turn down the opportunity to play beside
He's going to
his
the
best
Dodgers.
buddies? He's going to the Dodgers. The
Yeah,
Dodgers.
one thing that did come up in the round table last night on the 4-Train show is that to keep in mind that the Dodgers are in the 27th percentile of free agents of the international money out of the 30 teams. So their international money is very low.
That don't matter. He'll take $5 to go play for the Dodgers if he had to. He's a Dodger. Yeah, they'll somehow defer him $5 over the next 5 years. Like, here's a penny every year. There's no way he's not going to the Dodgers. Like that's
I agree with you on that. I just want
maybe the Padres. Maybe the Padres. I just can't see him going to the East Coast. I just can't see it.
No.
I still think if the Mariners can move Castillo's contract, I think the Mariners would go all in on
I
Sasaki.
love Castillo. I would not hate the Yankees going after Castillo or Crochet.
Yeah, but would he cut his hair?
He's got a no trade clause anyway. I don't think he would waive it to come to the Yankees.
Yeah, well, I think Castillo would be made available. I think the Mariners might.
He's probably the only
But
one
he
that
has
would
to.
move.
He has to approve the team.
Yeah.
I'm
So it's
not
like-
worried about pitching. We're gonna have pitching.
Yeah.
We're gonna acquire pitching. I'm sure of it. I'm just worried about this offense. And I'm gonna say it till I'm blue in the face. I'm gonna say it every single podcast. I'm worried about our management because I really think that was partly why the Yankees lost Soto. Not just the money, and not just because Soto was a scumbag, but I think he was. I think he liked what the Mets offered more, and it wasn't just the money. So that's what I'm concerned about. I just don't trust Cashman or Aaron Boone.
It's hard to after something like this because it's like he didn't manage the team very well last year with Juan Soto. Now he's got to manage it without Juan Soto.
Oh yeah, Boone's fucked.
Like I said the other day, I really feel like the Yankees' biggest changes are going to be internal. If they really want to get better, they got to change the way they are internally. And I do think that Boone can be a good manager. I don't know if he's going to be the best manager, but even with the flaws, he was able to get that team. He had a pretty well managed postseason, right? Change the way they operate internally, because clearly that was a factor in Soto leaving as well. He wouldn't have talked about it in the freaking interview if he wasn't. So change the stuff internally, all the stuff that we've been talking about for 4 years on this channel and other shows before we even became a channel. I mean, that's the biggest fix they can make. Then any additions you do make to this team, it won't look as desperate. Because if you change the philosophy and change the fundamentals of this team, anyone can fit in. But right now, you're just trying to, as Donald always says, put round pieces in a square hole or square pieces in a round, whatever he says. He gets what I'm trying to say. But that's what they've been trying to do for years. And it's just not the way to go about things. So, and that's a big good point, TC, as well. He was disgusted by it. But how disgusted was he if he was still if we were still the favorite until the very last minute?
But the truth is, there was obviously something, because at the end of the day, there was no point did he go, right, I want to be a Yankee, let's get this thing tied up. It looked like he was always chasing the almighty dollar. It looked like he was always leaving the option open for the Mets to come and take it. So it didn't sound like he really was that bothered about the Yankees. But I do agree, TC. I think he was disgusted. You look at his face, and that's why I went to bat for Soto, because that was somebody who genuinely cared, and that's someone who you knew would give it his all, and the way that he stared out of that dugout on that field, he was disgusted by what was going on around him, and there wasn't enough people on that Yankee roster that was disgusted, and that's why he's such a huge loss. It's not just about the numbers. You lose someone who knew how to play the game the right way, and that's going to be a huge loss. And I'm disgusted by the World Series. My only hope was that if he came back, I wouldn't be as disgusted about the World Series. Now I'm triply disgusted about the World Series, because not only did we have Juan Soto, but we could have actually done something, but we pissed it away. And that's what's really frustrating, because we played like shit in that World Series. And there was far too many Yankees, and it comes from management that weren't all that concerned. Just look at Brian Cashman. I was like, we didn't put our best foot forward, but I was great. No, that's not the approach I want to hear. Aaron Boone was it's all about togetherness. Our togetherness. Oh, bloody frickin' blah togetherness. So I'm sorry. I'm completely 100% clip that little minute there from Rob, because that's spot on, man. That's the way I view it. I don't even care about personnel. We're going to get players, great. The thing I want to focus on is management, the management structure, and change the philosophy. That's why I recommend changing the GM, because I'd much rather have a GM with a fresh approach. And it's not necessarily a criticism of Brian Cashman, but maybe someone with a fresh approach, with a modern approach, a modern analytic approach, and someone that has different ideas about how to maximize the roster. And I don't trust the current management structure to do that. They seem very comfortable. They just seem to be happy just to make a playoffs. Um, and that just seems to be all we hear from. I mean, we're already talking about an Aaron Boone extension. He's done nothing to earn an extension. But again, it's all about togetherness, and it's all, oh, we love him and all this stuff. Again, it's not the right approach, and that's why I'd blow that whole fucking thing up. The only reason why I was so excited about Soto is because he covered up a lot of that shit. He alone covered up for some managerial incompetence because he's that fucking good. He alone covered the fact that half our roster sucks. So he covered up a lot of that shit. Now you take him away, I want to see how that's what could be a blessing in disguise, because now the Yankees actually have to be culpable and take a responsibility about how to change, but I don't trust them to do it. So that's why I'm so fucking upset.
All right.
Yeah, it pretty much says it. And especially when you throw out words, are they culpable? I don't even know if they can spell it. You can't use SAT words around some of these people. They just don't understand. And the Yankees just don't understand how to make the adjustments. They really don't. It's ridiculous. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And I don't think Cashman's the one that's. I think Boone's the one that's got to go. I think his head would have to roll to make it to start the chain reaction of the philosophy change.
Yeah, but if Cashman's there, he's the one that's implementing this. That's why if you're going to do it right and just blow the whole thing up, at least internally. But we know Cashman's not going to go anywhere. So unless they did something like TC's bringing up and bringing those guys, I think Posada would be a great manager. I don't want Jeter in the front office simply because if it doesn't work out, I would hate to be like, you got to let go of Derek Jeter. I said that from the get-go. That's why I don't want to bring in a former Yankee to be a manager. Fine with Boone because I didn't really like Boone despite outside of 03, he wasn't really anything special. But I don't want to have to say like fire Posada or the hell is fire Jeter. I don't want to have to do that. But Posada just has manager written all over him. So if they were to make a change there, Posada makes sense to me. I can't think of anyone else that would be like, yeah, I want that guy to manage this team. Jeter in the front office would work if Cashman got the hell out of the way. Jeter and Cashman would be able to work
you
together.
can't have both of them.
No.
I'd be quite interested in Jeter because I think that he's kind of got that winning, like win at all costs mentality that is kind of missing from our management. Because I keep saying this management, they seem very happy with where they're at, and there's not enough of them, and that really was furious at that World Series. And the only people that I saw that looked genuinely disgusted was Soto and Stanton. There just wasn't enough people that were just disgusted. So Jeter would be disgusted. Posada would be disgusted. So, but I know what you're saying, man, because the worst thing that could possibly happen is if you have a legend come in and then it doesn't work, and then you're going to get people already going after him. So, I would love a change, though. I think Posada would be great. But Jeter doesn't want anything to do with this version of the Yankees. Well, this is not your father's Yankees, and that's why my heart is so broken. Because I mean, the Yankees used to mean something, and now we don't even have Soto, who wanted to come back. So it's really tough to be optimistic.
Yeah. Baseball Dave saying how the Yankees still suck.
Well, he had
Well,
to spell
yeah.
it right the second time, but I don't know
Yeah,
who sucks at
they
what.
still suck. I agree.
And yeah, Razdale's got it right. We're all still awake. Hit that like button if you're still hanging out with us. If you have not already, hit
We're
that sub
almost
button. All
200
the new
people in
subs.
the
We
chat.
appreciate
This
you
is
all.
incredible, guys. So, I mean, we're miserable, but what isn't miserable is the Pinstripe Chronicles. Because this channel is growing. We're doing a podcast, and we've got almost 200 people in the chat. There's a lot of people that want to get their views across. We welcome all viewpoints, optimistic, negative, Met fan, Dodger fan, don't care. Come on over, hit the like button, come and say hello. It means the world to us that you guys want to stick around and listen to us talk about the Yankees, and so many want to do so. So, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say a big thank you. And so, hit the like button, guys. Let's get a ton of likes here, right? So, everyone in the chat, hit that like button for us right now. We're gonna give you a minute to do it. Shouldn't take you too long. You just move that cursor over to that like button. Hit that like button. If we could get all those likes up, we could get. I'd love to get 100 likes, but if we can get close to 100 likes, we would be doing great. So let's get a drive for 100. What do you guys say to that?
Let's go for
I
it.
think we could easily. I mean, we've already jumped up a shit ton of subs, so we appreciate everybody for doing that.
Let's go.
And
We want to get
baseball,
1K for the end of this offseason.
baseball. Dave is saying he's a Red Sox fan. All right, awesome. Hey,
Well, so
we
you
love
lost
hearing
as well
that.
as we did tonight. Good. We're all in the same boat. Tina
Yeah, there you
Guzman, a Dodger fan. I think you're better off without Soto. He costs way too much. That's coming from a Dodger fan talking about costing too much. But not, I mean, I guess that's the way some people are looking at it. It's a lot of money. It's $800 million. That's insane.
It is 760. It's pretty disgusting.
That's fucking nuts. Alonzo or Bellinger from Crazy
Bellinger.
Joe. Bellinger, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not that I don't like Alonzo. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people hate Pete Alonso. I don't. I just don't want to give out a 5-year deal.
yeah.
That's all it is. I don't think Alonso's
Yeah,
taking like a 3-year deal.
I think that's been the stance for with you and I, Rob. I'm not investing that kind of contract into a first baseman at that age. And I just don't see him leaving the. I don't see him leaving the Mets. He's going to play around with the market and then go home.
So D-Rod traded Bitcoin at midnight and made $300 in an hour. So I trust that you didn't go with Hawk Tua's Bitcoin, and you actually went with the smarter one that isn't actually a scam. So good for you, D-Rod. Stay away from the. Stay away from that. How about A-Rod in the office, dude? A-Rod is a baseball savant. And but the problem is, A-Rod doesn't get nearly any respect within the Yankee organization. Hal likes him. Cashman hates him. So there's not a chance that you're going to get A-Rod. And Cashman also hates Derek Jeter too. So you ain't going to get him anywhere. You're not going to get too many of the ex-Yankees involved if Brian Cashman's there, because Cashman does not have a relationship with any of them. And if he did, you would actually start seeing Brian Cashman turn up at these old timers things and all these. He never does. Jeter hates him. Hates the guy.
Jeter was there last year, right?
Yeah, but Jeter and Cashman, they don't like each other. That's just the fact. They really don't like
Well, yeah, I mean Jeter wouldn't join this front office, and
No way.
if Cashman's still here. But again, I really don't want any part of that. Just in case it does go south, I don't want to. I don't want that for any of my teams. I don't want to see the Giants hire Eli Manning as like a GM or something, and he fails. God forbid he fails at that, and I gotta be like fire Eli. I don't want to do that because there's always that chance it does fail. In a perfect world, we would have Jeter and he'd bring Kim Eng back, but I think she's starting a new league.
She's starting a new league.
Like a women's, I think it's like a women's.
Yeah, there's a women's baseball league that's starting to come into that's going to be starting in 2026, and Kim Eng is a huge part of the building of it.
So
I think Aaron Boone would be perfect for that.
I'm very happy for her though. I would love for her to be part of this front office. I was hoping they would do that when she left Miami, but I just don't. I don't see Jeter. I don't see Posada coming here. We got Pettit, but it hasn't really helped. I mean, the pitching's been fine, but he's not really like a coach or anything. He's just an advisor.
See,
I
that's
think.
why even like my favorite player growing up was Mattingly. I never wanted him as our manager because I don't want to tarnish my love for him. Because then you got to separate the player from the manager, and it just gets too muddy. I'd rather him just live in my baseball lore and the player that made me love this game. I don't want to have to hate on him.
There's one player that I think would be perfect in a heavy coaching role would be David Cohn. That's someone who's in tune with the modern analytics, and that's someone who's very much in tune with the psychological aspect of pitching. And I think he would be great in a serious coaching role. But he interviewed for the pitching coach job, and Brian Cashman was I read somewhere that Brian Cash the Cohn was kind of upset by the way that Brian Cashman spoke to him during the interview. He didn't like it. So what are you laughing at, bro?
Don't worry about it. I see it.
But that is true.
See,
That is true. I
see
think
that comment.
Let's see. Whose comment do I have to read?
Nope.
Well, don't put it up on the
Don't
screen.
put it
just
on the
read
screen.
You'll see.
Oh, yo,
But feel better.
yo.
Yeah, we are definitely getting into the late hours here.
What happened to being humble and gentle? I needed that. I needed that laugh after what happened tonight.
Pray for that, man.
Oh, wild fucking night. This has turned out.
TC is not optimistic, and I'm very much closer to TC than not.
Yeah, you and TC have been pretty much on board for a while with that.
Yeah, it's true. Let's see. My Nibblers is definitely he's going through it right now, so I can definitely relate. I am worse. I am worse. So my man is going through it right now.
Please, we'll be back at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's, believe me, we're putting ourselves to the limits too.
I think for my sanity, I do have to get some sleep. But another comment here, from Matthew Vasquez, Yankee fans, my Dodgers will just smoke them in 6 again. Wasn't it 5?
No, they went.
Didn't go 6. It went 5.
No,
you're talking about the Mets. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're talking about the Mets. All right. I thought you meant us. I was going to say I forgot you played the Mets.
I agree. The Dodgers are going to cook them. I think they will. I think the Dodgers will cook the Mets again. And that's our only hope because the Yankees ain't going to do nothing. My Nibbler. I do have an affinity for our new guy here. I just grew up always knowing that Ebery Seahorn. Now, as I'm in my 30s, we suck, bro. I'm the same. I'm gonna be 40 too soon for me to even mention, but it's tough when you grow up and you see a legendary franchise win every year, and now we suck. It's tough. It really is tough. It's tough to stomach.
Yep.
Yeah, I am tired, Donnie. I've been up since 3 in the goddamn morning, so it's been like almost 24 hours refreshing Twitter. Just be disappointed. We know, Nikki. We know you're not done spending. That's the problem. They still have like $50 million they can spend. It's insane.
Thank you, Timothy. I appreciate it, man. I need some optimism. As I am just just staring into an abyss.
No, but TC is right because there is some positives here. The defense
Yeah.
will be better next year if they add the players that we've been talking about. And the defense was one of our biggest issues, so the defense will be better. Hopefully, the pitching will be better, and the offense will just have to be respectable. It's not going to be top of the league, but it just needs to be respectable.
And Nathan, what's going on? Been enjoying watching all the work you've been doing with your sports hour. Yeah, the Yankees need to sign multiple players now ASAP. I believe me, bro. We know that's all we've been talking about.
Well, it depends. You can
Depends on
spend
the
money.
players.
You can spend money tomorrow on 5 different people, but
Yeah, it
is
depends
it going to
on
be
the
smart? It needs to be smart money. I'm not worried about the Yankees spending money. They have it. They're willing to spend $760 million on one player. Not worried about the signing. It's how they sign, how they spend it, and for me, I just don't have any faith that they're going to do it intelligently.
Yeah. But
Timothy's not wrong. The Mets signed 2 of the best pitchers in baseball, Scherzer and Verlander. It didn't work out. Soto's going to impact that lineup with limited pitching. You ain't wrong, brother.
well, that's why it's obvious that the Mets are not done with their off season, but we can't worry about and try to speculate what the Mets are going to do. We're here to analyze what the Yankees are going to do.
As a current Mexican, is there a chance that you might not be a Mexican in the future? As a current Mexican, I just want the Yankees to start acting like they want to win a title. They don't have urgency like I do. This upsets me so much that it's affecting my marriage. Bro is going through it.
I
appreciate it, man.
My new humble and gentle Mexican friend has some issues with the down under right now, and their marriage is being affected thanks to this.
Oh, dude, you got stomach flu as well? Oh, dude, this is rough.
Oh my God, it is definitely.
You might actually have it worse than me.
Are you feeling better now, Donald?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm still broken, but I do appreciate there's other people just as broken, if not more so.
Yeah, gentle Mexican is broken right now.
Yeah, he really is.
That's broken if I ever saw it.
Yeah.
He's going through it. You thought we had it bad by losing Soto? Ain't nothing compared to what that poor fella's going through. What's up, NFE?
What up, NFE? We've got almost 200 in the chat, guys. Let's continue to drive this. Come on, guys. Hit that like button. Let's do it. I mean, you got to do it for us, man. I mean, we're on here for almost 2.5 hours.
If not us, do it for a gentle Mexican.
Yes. So Wayne wants to know if anybody's covering first base yet. Right now, penciled in is LeMahieu. It was right now. I think our first base.
Fuck me, I forgot he was.
I forgot he existed.
I was hoping the Yankees would forget he existed too.
That's why they'll be like, well, we have LeMahieu. You know, we have Cabrera. We have Ben Rice. First base is covered. No problem.
Fucking hell. I swear to God.
I can't believe he's still there. I completely forgot he existed. $50 million.
My nibbler's getting worse by the minute. DJ LeMahieu is our first baseman, guys. That's why I am getting drunk off my skunk seahorn. We have lost the plot here.
I have respect for you too. I'm trying. Yeah, there's a lot of guys going through it right now, and we're here for you. But yeah, what are we gonna do about TJ LeMahieu, man? I mean, that's $15 million that you might as well just piss against.
I think we should just give him. We did an event with Ben Rice earlier today. That is awesome. How'd that go? No, I think they need to give him the Ellsbury treatment and just pay him to just stay away. You got to pay him anyway. Might as well
Just cut him. Like, just pay him. Yeah,
Yeah.
just cut him. Like, what are you gonna get out of the guy? If you could pay somebody for double plays, he'd make $760 million.
Oh yeah, shit. Could you imagine if there was like a positive metric for DPs? He'd be the best in baseball.
You'd make $1 billion.
He would be the best. If DPs was a good thing, holy shit, bro. But TC, yeah, so many holes and not enough duct tape, and that's the problem. That's the way I view it too, man. I'm completely in agreement with you.
I can't trust DJ LeMahieu as far as I can throw him. If that guy is my starting first baseman next year, I'm gonna I'll be a lot more angry about that than I am about what happened tonight.
Yeah.
Well, no one has it worse than me because if anyone that was there from the start, they saw me cut up my Soto jersey live on air. So I've got that, and I've also got a DJ LeMahieu jersey in my closet, and I forgot he existed. So it's bad. It's really fucking bad.
You could do that one.
And my ex has my Stanton jersey, the only player I fucking like on the team. Great.
Save the LeMahieu one for when he's in the lineup opening day.
Good God.
Why would you say that? Why would you put that negative? You think tonight's been bad enough? Gentle Mexicans dealing with it. We got some new friends in the chat that are going through it. You got to bring up DJ LeMahieu as the starting first baseman on opening day. My nibbler is he can't spell. That's how wasted he is.
202 people in the chat. You guys are fucking legends. Hit the sub button. Anyone who hasn't done so, hit that sub button. Please, guys. That would be I'm almost begging you at this point. Please cheer us up. Hit that sub button. And let's continue to drive this thing because we are aiming to get to 1K ASAP because we will have a celebratory stream with our new subs and new members as well because there's a membership option. Uncle Tats, give us your plans for some of our members.
So the hey, real quick, you also have a super chat now from Jets Mets Mess for $5. Great job. Posada is a POS. Always jealous of Girardi.
Right. I mean, thank you for the $5, but you ain't a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I know they had their issues, but I wouldn't go that far. But no, it's so with the memberships, the After Dark show will be a members only, and then we will be also members will get discounts on the future merch line that's being worked on, and also the live game streams. There will be a members only pregame. So we're going to be hanging out before the game starts, so that'll be just a chat for just the members only. And also the ladies that do the upper deck will also be putting up some content that are for the members only people. So for the family members, they do have some perks there.
Jacob, if you enjoy having me on 3 times a week, you would know that I should not have any contact with my ex.
Why? Yeah, she thought, Jesus Christ, don't bring her up. I never even met them.
Yeah, you don't want psychopathic killers involved in the chat. Right, we got a new people. Casper can. I was salute. I was rude to my wife and kids because this news pissed me off so much. I canceled dinner and just wanted to be alone. Dude, I trashed my bedroom. I completely trashed it. So tomorrow will need to be a case of making my house clean again because I literally trashed the fucking house. Trying to find a live Yankee stream on YouTube and stumbled here. I'm sick to my stomach. I'm not sure I can function right now. My life has changed so fast. I am knee deep in French Berry Martinis, bro. Dude, I know.
We are glad you found us.
I'm with you, man. But thank you for finding us, and we'll try and cheer you up in the future, or at least share your misery. I can only relate.
Count Yonkers says It's like the Yonkers version of Count Dracula. Dominguez can turn into Soto with 600 at bats. Trust me, if he's healthy, he can do it. Relax, y'all crashing out over this totally. I haven't really crashed out. I don't. I think putting that on Dominguez is a bit unfair, but if he does, that'd be fantastic. I'd be ecstatic if Dominguez becomes Juan Soto, but it'd still make me feel better if we had both of them. Is that fair?
I like this comment here. This is a little dose of reality, a little bit. As a Mets fan, this deal is overkill. Good luck finding pitching. Pitching rotation is atrocious. Yankees win this, not paying that ridiculous contract. That is a very interesting take. Because they still have money they can spend and still stay under his own threshold. And so they can still address some of the pitching that they're going to need. But they just have to be able to make the deals. So we'll see what the move is next. But yes, it does give the Yankees a lot of financial flexibility. But as Donald has graciously ranted about for almost 2.5 hours, the market is not there this year to have the proper pivot to kind of ease the pain of losing Soto. That's the reality of it.
You think we'll see any moves tomorrow? It's official. I guess today it's officially the start of the winter meetings. Think anything major will happen?
Oh boy. Yeah, you'll probably get some. You'll probably have an escalation of some trade talks. I wouldn't be surprised if you hear some stuff about Max Fried, maybe. Yeah, I think that's our next pivot. Maybe. I mean, I saw some rumors of Bregman. So yeah.
Yeah, and Jacob, the clip is right in the beginning of the show. I think it's like in the first 5 minutes.
What's that?
You're ripping up your shirt.
Oh yeah, it's cut up.
No, you wanted to watch it, so it was the beginning of the stream.
It's cut up in pieces. Fuck them, absolutely fuck them.
No, listen, Count Yonkers. I want Dominguez to be that guy. Trust me, I love Dominguez. Since we got him when he was like 16 years old, I was like, I can't wait to see this guy get here. Nibbler's miserable, but yeah, I think I really want Dominguez to be great. I'm hoping that even with Soto, he was going to get a starting job, but now we really need him to he needs to be good, and I just hope that the Yankees give him every opportunity to start every day because they can't be that sit him, start him. They got to treat him the way they treated Volpe, which is play through it. Whatever struggles may happen, play through it. That's the only way you're going to develop a player.
JJ Mets are getting Guerrero Jr. by next offseason. Oh, good God.
They might. They got the farm system to make a trade. If Toronto decides they want to blow it up, Mets have the financial muscle and the farm system to make a deal. That's the reality of it.
Virgil, we don't develop guys properly. Facts. Absolutely facts, Virgil.
We don't develop them when they get here. The minor league system is actually really well run because people keep taking our coaches and our guys. It's when they get them here is the problem.
The major league level is where they all fall off.
And that's what Soto was asking about.
Yep.
Got a lot going on here. I'm trying to keep up with everything.
Tina's thinking that Teoscar is going to resign with the Dodgers. We've said that that's always a possibility. You can never count the Dodgers off of anybody. And Nick is also adding in that he thinks that now that Soto is off the table, that the free agent signings are just going to come. The dam is going to be opened up. I think that's actually really possible. I think the next 5 days is going to be a lot of moves being made.
Yeah. And BC's right. Boston will definitely make moves. I agree with that.
Yep.
This is why the winter meetings needs to be the start of the freaking off season. You imagine this tonight being the start of everything?
That'd be insane.
It'd be mayhem. I wish they would do that.
I agree with that. if they shorten the window to be between now and pitchers and catchers, and that's your window to make your acquisitions, non-waiver acquisitions, boom, that would be fucking amazing. Because you get people, you know, doing this. What we just did, well, as Yankee fans for the last week, updating Twitter every fucking 2 seconds.
And like I said, we were all hitting refresh like old ladies at a slot machine.
Talking about ladies, let's say a big shout out to our ladies that are that we have on our channel, the Upper Deck podcasts, Lynn and Sierra. I joined them. It was a really good show, and I do recommend you guys check them out on Sundays. They do such a good job, and so do want to say a big salute to them too, because they're doing such great work. So big salute to them.
And they're still saying Mets are going to get Vlad by the trade deadline. Look, if they make the moves, they make the moves. I'm not. Look, we're going to cross our fingers that he's available when he's a free agent in 1 year. Get a stopgap for first base and see if we can go after Vlad, because after this season is when the free agent market's going to be a much improved.
I kind of hope they do trade for him. This way we can sign him in the offseason. Make you feel how we feel.
Payback's a bitch.
So you see how it feels. Although Steve Cohen will probably give him $800 million, keep him in Queens. So.
Yeah, right.
Then JJ can come right back and laugh at me 1 year from now. Book it. God damn it. We don't have Verdugo.
Oh, dude.
No, we don't. We don't have him.
Stan should ask for Boone. I agree. Only dude that can actually hit in October.
Yep.
Literally. Literally. Weird. Let's make no bones about it. We're in a really, really tough spot. Like, Cashman is going to have to turn into, like, rewind, like, 20 years to turn this fucking thing around.
And there needs to be a cap in the MLB. These contracts are getting out of control. That might be something. Maybe we'll put a pin on that for the morning, and we'll talk about the impact of this salary, of this contract, and the rest. How it's going to work on the rest of the offseason, and big free agents going forward, because it is something that we actually do enjoy discussing every year, every offseason. But it is getting it's starting to get a little late. I'd rather
you guys are okay. I mean, I've given up on life now because of Soto, so I could go until fucking 10 in the morning. But yeah, we should probably sign off and give us something to discuss tomorrow. Got 230 people in the chat. Freaking incredible job. I think that's a record at this point. Although we had a big viewing after the World Series, but this is awesome. So everyone that's subbed up over the last 24 hours, big thank you. Thank you for everyone that is stuck around for the 2.5 hours. We really do appreciate it. So hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't done so. You will see us on Monday. I can't guarantee what kind of state I'm going to be in.
It's like 9 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, in like literally a couple hours from now. I feel like I'm staring into an abyss. So we will see. But I do appreciate my brothers Rob and Uncle Tats. And this Pinstripe Chronicles family is growing, and to be honest, that's my focus now. Yeah. I can't do anything about the Yankees. I can't control them, but we can control this, and this is exciting. This is a lot to be excited about. And if you guys, we do appreciate everyone that stuck around from the ride. The OGs in the chat that have been around since day one. I'm really appreciative to you guys too. So look forward to seeing you all tomorrow and down the line.
Yep. And as we always say, hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. This is the Pinstripe Chronicles, where fans become family. And as we always like to say, wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.